We are finally live, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 162 of Bloody Thumbs podcast. I am Splinter47, and joining me as always is my good cohort here, Mr. C.H. Gorog. How are you, sir?
Hello, hey, howdy. I'm doing fantastic. Now, I'm even better now that we get to get started on another episode of Bloody Thumbs.
Yeah, this has definitely been one in the making here that we've been looking forward to do for a while. There's definitely a lot of things that we got to talk about for sure. Some other stuff as well that's been brought up through Twitter and Instagram that I went ahead and sent the call out for some questions, and we will definitely answer those questions as we progress throughout the show and later on the show. So I'm sure there's going to be some topics in there that we'll discuss even before the end of the show, where we usually have that question segment. So first off, I guess we'll begin here just saying, we've been good. We had a lot of things going on. I know the CH's got some things going on as well, some good things.
Yes, indeed.
Very good things.
I'm looking forward to releasing my next video because I haven't been doing that in about 3 years. So this might at least I'm batting a good average, one video every 3 years. Yeah, that's good, right?
Oh yeah. That's the kind of consistency I like to see in the YouTube channel. If you don't mind me saying,
every other day that falls on a day that doesn't end in Y.
That's right.
So expect that coming soon. And also, we got a lot of pretty interesting things to talk about as well. But how have you been doing, my friend?
I've been very good. I've been very, very fantastic. I've been staying very cool here in Vegas. It's starting to get a little bit warmer. It's hasn't gotten triple digits quite yet. Although we're kind of always we've been in like the very mid to high 80s these last few weeks, but I've managed, and it's been kind of windy too, so it's kind of been messing with my eyes and my nose. Being a lot of itchiness going on, a lot of sneezing, but I've managed to get through that and not have anything too bad going on. But yeah, I had a couple things going on. I got to go to a convention here in Vegas, so the Wizard World. This is as close as Comic-Con as I'll ever go to because I couldn't get the Comic-Con tickets this year.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
but you got some pretty good pictures though.
Yeah, I did. I got a lot of goodies. One of the things that one of the folks I got to meet was the Batman himself, the voice of Batman, Mr. Kevin Conroy.
The only Batman in my book. Everyone else just the pale imitator.
I personally would say that for sure. This is coming from me growing up watching the animated series, so he's always kind of been ingrained in my head as the voice of Batman. Whenever I close my eyes and think of Batman's voice, he's the first person to come up. So it was really cool getting to meet him. He signed some stuff for me. I got me some animated series memorabilia signed, and one that I always wanted to get signed from him personally was the Mask of the Phantasm. Undoubtedly one of the best Batman animated movies ever made, in my opinion.
Some people say it's one of the best Batman films ever made, period, animated or live action.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It was so high up there that that Warner Brothers had a theatrical release for it, and we really haven't seen them put out a theatrical animated movie in a long time since that. So that definitely shows you a lot that they had the utmost confidence and amount of respect for the film that they went ahead and put that out there in the theater. I don't remember seeing it at the theater as a kid, but I know I saw it in some shape or form.
But did you like, as soon as you met Kevin Conroy? I know you had that interview with him, and but like, did you, like, when you actually met him in person, did you just like become the 6-year-old again. It's like, oh my god, it's Batman! You're so awesome.
I had that little bit of a moment there where we were, I was in line to get an autograph from him. There's an autograph signing area they had for him. He showed up, and then he got up on the table, and then he shouted at the top of his voice, "I am vengeance, I am the knight, I am Batman," and then I just turned 6 years old again. So that was awesome. But it was very cool. I mean, we shook hands with him. He signed my stuff, and I just told him that. I mean, I was a very, very big fan of his, and loved the Mask of the Phantasm. I just told him a little funny quip. I just told him that I drove my mom nuts with that movie because I watched it so many times. It was kind of like my lullaby kind of movie, and. And also I was representing Blade Thumbs, man. I had the Blade Thumbs shirt on with I went with my sister and girlfriend, so we both represented the podcast together, wearing the podcast shirts. People, we got a couple of looks, good looks. People are wondering, what's this Blade Thumbs? I was like, what? You don't know? What's wrong with you?
You don't know the new kids in town? And speaking of which, I got my T-shirt delivered on Friday. And so I'll take a couple of snaps and just show everyone how I look rocking the Bloody Thumbs.
Oh shit, that's very cool. Buddy. We have a bunch of shirts all over now. We started out with like one shirt out at first a few years ago with the original design. Now we got like more than 5 shirts out there.
Exactly, and from the image from Dranson, that one is just classic because you got like a lot of good franchises in there that we are part of.
Yeah, but we gotta give our hands towards Dranson. He was a fellow listener of the podcast during the Spill.com days where we kind of all culminated together, and it was kind of like this movie website, and and yeah, we really got to thank him a lot for it. I mean, for putting together that artwork, and always offering him to help him out in any way, but he was always doing it out of the kindness of his heart, so we really appreciate it wherever he is right now.
God bless wherever you are, Dranson, and you're always welcome back onto the show. If you ever want to make some new art, we always appreciate it. I'm still incredibly stunned, speechless, just how awesome that logo is. I don't think I could spend 20 years drawing and have anything even closely look as good as that.
No, I can't even imagine myself even drawing anything as remotely as good as that. I mean, the best I could do is stick figures, but that ain't nothing.
All I can do is draw boobs and maybe a smoke cloud looking angry, and that's about it.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. There was as per usual as you get at those conventions, a lot of cosplaying. There was a cool Splinter cosplay. Not me, but there was from the Ninja Turtles Splinter. That was pretty cool.
How weird would it be if like someone was actually just cosplaying as you? Just like not like as like your icon that you have for the podcast, but just as you. Like he's got like the Bayonetta and Batman tattoos. Like I'm Splinter 47. I got a good looking dame over here. I got Kevin Conroy over here. Life is good.
Life is good. No, it was a whole lot of fun. Seeing the people's cosplay is the best. We actually. My girlfriend and I actually ran into a Loki cosplay, which was really dead on. He got the face down, the hair, the whole costume, the shebang. It's like, oh shit, Loki, what's going on, man? He had
plans for Asgard.
He had his little stick there, and then he was having some Starbucks. So
it might have been Tom Hiddleston, because he likes doing that. He likes dressing up as Loki and just like going to big fan events, at least during the Avengers and Thor movies, where he just loves dressing up and doing that. So you might have actually met him.
I might as well have. I'm gonna stick to that story because the picture I have, it looks dead on like Tom Hiddleston. So
you know what?
No, I was just gonna say it was a lot of fun. I got some. I didn't realize till I got home. I got a lot of like Batman related stuff. A lot of goodies from. I had when I first saw this, I had to get it. There was this artist there that was selling like these watercolored watercolored paintings of different superheroes. They had so many like Marvel and DC stuff, and this Batman watercolor painting he had was really really cool. It's very very frameable. I wish I would have bought that before I made Kevin Conroy. I would have had that signed. That would have been, yeah. I had like a bunch of things signed. I didn't know I could sign that much stuff. So once I saw that he was pretty cool about it, because some other booths they only allow you to sign one thing because they got to keep the line moving. But he was very cool, and he had me sign like 3 things already.
Yeah, or it could have been like Lou Ferrigno, where just like he signs one day, he's like $20.
But Mr. Ferrigno, and then he just like hulks up. No, I'll pay.
I'm really surprised that he wasn't there, just because he seems to have been very, very adamant on doing these things and getting as much easy money as possible.
No, actually, he was there. I actually saw him. He was there. He was there. There's a lot of there's a lot of people there. I'll tell you who was there. I'll have to look at the list, but from the ones that I remember, Lou Ferrigno was there. I'm very mad that I didn't get to meet Kevin Sorbo. He was there. The original Hercules, man.
Hercules.
He was there. Some of the Walking Dead cast members were there. Some of them were originally supposed to be there, but they got had to cancel due to like scheduling conflicts. But no, we also got to meet Steven Yeun from Walking Dead.
No kidding.
Yeah, I got a quick picture with him.
Oh,
I think Emily from The Walking Dead was there.
Mm-hmm. Did you meet Clementine or Lee Everett?
I wish.
One day they'll be real and portrayed by actual actors. One day.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's a whole lot of other people there. Actually, Jason David Frank was there, but I didn't get to see him. But he was there. The original Power Ranger, Green Ranger Tommy.
He's been pretty true to his green colors back in the days of Power Rangers, and still to this day he's very very appreciative of the fans, and he really has that big fan base.
Yeah, most people would kind of brush that part of their career aside and want to focus on like what they're doing now, which is usually like the type of people that get typecasted for certain things, and they want to kind of deviate from that. But no, he's been really cool about embracing, I mean, obviously what made him a star, and give him the opportunities that he has now. So very cool that he's sticking true to that. Overall, it was a lot of fun going to that convention. Very busy. I was probably on my feet for like at least over 7 hours. My feet were killing me by the end of the day. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of cool things to buy. A lot of things going on. So much stuff and so much different panels. I didn't even get to look because I was just so distracted at looking at all the different little stores and what things people were selling. There's a lot of crazy stuff there. A lot of Game of Thrones stuff, and how much Harry Potter wands I almost bought.
Now, were they playing a game of Quidditch?
Yeah, they were just kind of like flying around, throwing the Quidditch up in the skies. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. People took cosplay to the next level.
I don't even want to get into that world. Like I was thinking, like, oh, okay, maybe one of these years I'll go to a Comic-Con or a convention of some sort. I'll dress up as one of my characters that I really like. I was thinking for maybe this Halloween or for a convention or something, I would do the Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil look. Of course, I got to lose a lot of weight before I even look close to Charlie Cox, but it's like, hey, there we go. But then I realized, I look online, it's like people who fashion and smelt their own Spartan armor, or who, just like look exactly like Final Fantasy characters. I'm like, I feel absolutely embarrassed to be in your presence, because you obviously have this down to a science, and I am just the novice in this entire situation.
You're the guy that went to Party City while everybody made their own costume.
Yeah, it's a Darth Vader mask for $5. It's cheap and it's made of plastic, but that's all I need.
Yeah, I really wish I had that kind of those kind of skills to put together a costume like that. A lot, because people just do that. They don't really buy anything. They may buy something like an accessorial, like maybe one of those prop guns to add on to their costume. But for the majority of their whole costume, they make by hand. So that kind of stuff takes a lot of time and skill, which I have neither both. To back it up, so I just stick to what I know, which is my own clothes.
You could go as the Sam Fisher of the first version of Conviction, where he's just like the hobo looking guy and just like throw a chair at somebody's face like it's gameplay time. Ha!
Well, that's an easy cosplay, and hopefully some people will get it, because that game never saw the light of day, but it will be like an obscure cosplay. That's the hobo Sam Fisher. God, I wonder what would have came of that game if they went forward with it. I was always been curious on that. But I liked how Conviction turned out. In hindsight.
Yeah, I don't think they did a lot of cross discussions with the Assassin's Creed team, since it was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to be doing this, and like at the same, wasn't it like the same E3 where they both revealed the games? It's like, okay, these are actually really, really similar to each other.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Ubisoft-based games like to use similar mechanics to Assassin's Creed. Almost a lot of the Ubisoft games have to at least include some kind of mechanic where you have to climb up something and release like a tower in order to get a part of the map open, which has kind of been, it was cool at first, but they've been doing it too much on a lot of their games. Even Far Cry, the last Far Cry games, they've been doing that as well. So I think it's time for them to kind of stop doing that and do something different with their hopefully future titles.
Are you as pissed off as I am about Arkham Knight having $40 worth of DLC on day one, and it's like the Catwoman, the Red Robin, the Nightwing, and Batwoman, apparently all campaigns are like, oh, they're optional, but we're going to lock it off.
Yeah, I actually was going to bring that up as well. I know there's been a couple of inklings on what that for season pass entails. It's not too entirely specific. Like, I know there's a prequel mission, and there's also some like story missions in there as well. We don't really know how far deep these story missions will go, whether they be something like that is essential or something that adds on to the game. That remains to be seen, but it is a bit too much to ask, especially on day one. This has kind of been something that's been going on as for a while as well. Do this day one DLC. I like to hold off judgment till it comes out to see what the DLC is about. As much as I love Rocksteady and their Batman games, I don't know if they.
Oh, no question.
If they really, I don't know if they really deserve.
They don't have much of,
yeah. I mean, it's still early on. I mean, you still got like a month away before it comes out to see exactly what that season pass entails. I don't know. It is a bit too much to ask, especially day one. You bought the game already, and you think you're ready to go, and then the thing you see is the DLC. It's the same thing what happened with Mortal Kombat. You start the game up, and the first thing they show is like, hey,
Goro.
Want to buy some Goro? Like, no, I don't want to buy Goro. I already pre-ordered this.
Hey kids, you want some DLC? Don't tell your parents.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get to MKX later on, but that was one of the out of all of the minor problems that game had, the microtransactions and the DLC that's in there was definitely one of the bigger problems I had with the game. But I would have made it a perfect game if they didn't have to go through all that all that money grabbing with the DLC and all that. Kind of ruined it for me.
And the thing is that with all of the recent WB games, or that WB published, it's too much of a consistent trait going on with NetherRealm, with I think some of the Lego games had some weird DLC. And then with Rocksteady, it does feel like this is WB kind of pushing them to do it, because even back when Rocksteady did Arkham City, where they had Catwoman as a fairly large part of the story, and then just like, oh, by the way, this story part, like, it really adds to the story, but you're going to have to buy it through DLC or pre-ordering it. And just like, this feels like just such a low road for them, especially after all the quality that they put into Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that was definitely during the time, and this still is going on. It's just not a lot of people really talking about it. Maybe hasn't been that drawn up that much, but that was during the time where used sales were really big. GameStop and other retailers that sell used games were really making a lot of money on used games. So the publishers have been trying to nickel and dime folks trying to get them to buy new games rather than just buying it used, and this is also the same thing where people are having to buy the I don't think it's that's going on anymore as much that I know of, that had you buy an online pass.
It's still going on.
It's still going on? Damn. I'm out of the loop.
No, I mean, just like it's not as prevalent, but like for Mortal Kombat X, you can sign into Warner Brothers account for extra content. Like, this is the thing now. They tease a lot of the extra content to jump through hoops for you to get to sign on to, like, log into Origin or log into whatever thing. Instead of like offering something a little bit more substantial and actually a reason to do it, they're just doing it just to, I don't even know. It feels incredibly just, I don't know, limp-wristed and just disappointing, because I thought we'd be better than this. I mean, CD Projekt Red, they're doing DLC, but that's down the line. We have ideas, we're working on them, but we're just releasing The Witcher 3 as the full game. Like, you can just enjoy this and you'll get the entire experience, and we're just making expansion packs later. And with the second one, they were just giving stuff away. There's like, here's my firstborn, here's my car keys, the deed to my house, I don't want it anymore. It's like $20 for Assassins of Kings. Thank you very much, Steve Verome. The extra costumes for mobile games, in Mortal Kombat X mobile games, where you can get extra costumes, and I guess that's kind of cool, but like, maybe it should be free, or at least something that maybe advertises the game. They had the Blacklist, the Splinter Cell Blacklist iPhone game, where you played as a little spider droid and you could do stealth, assault, or Panther-style missions, and if you unlock enough points, you can unlock costumes in the game. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, because it's actually like its own little mini game. But Tag Gibby said it was annoying. I kind of liked it, but it did take a little too long to kind of farm the credits. Also, he says that you should have brought a T-shirt cannon at the convention that you went to.
That would have been cool, just shooting them across the convention halls, and then watching me getting pulled out of there for shooting stuff.
Give nobody warning. Like, don't even say like incoming. Just like do that, like, from across the hall, and this like the one and done like rocket launchers from World War II. Just like shoot it and then like drop it on the ground, then just walk away. It's like, oh, who shot that? Oh, bloody thumbs. Hey, that's my store. Hey, anyway, let me talk to you about my podcast.
And
while you're suffering your concussion.
Yeah, shooting stuff, and then accidentally hitting Lou Ferrigno, and getting my ass out of there.
He is the perfect embodiment of Hulk, because I don't think his linguistic skills are even as developed as his. We are marketing genius, Tag Gibby. Yeah,
it's actually, things like that have been going on for a while, especially those gaining extra content. I feel that stuff can be optional, but I just don't like it being exclusive to mobile games, having to get that content through the mobile game, like no other way. Buy it. I'd rather just earn it within the game itself, rather than just having to go through that. If there was an option,
what if you don't have iOS?
Right. Especially, I mean, that's the same thing that happened with GTA 5. There was some extra content. I don't know if you can get or just add on to the experience, but Android users couldn't even download that app for a long time, because they didn't have an Android version for a while. where you had the dog. You were doing this little taking care of the dog.
Chops.
Doing chaps. Yeah.
Where you picked up his poop. That was fun. It's like Tamagotchi made the rounds 10 years later.
I know, that was the shit. My little pocket Tamagotchi keychain. I was always making sure my puppy was fed, and then the one time that I forgot, and then it was dead.
Just like a real animal, except it doesn't bark to let you know.
Right.
And we can. I assume you played Mortal Kombat X, and if you want, we can talk about that a little bit later or a little bit now.
Yeah, I haven't. I played a good amount, enough to give you the deets on it. It's a very fun game. I would say this is probably one of the best Mortal Kombat games out there to date. There's so much, regardless of all the kind of microtransactions included in there. Like I just found it baffling. And this is something that obviously I can't see NetherRealm doing, because they put out a lot of content in their Mortal Kombat games, especially for Mortal Kombat 9. There's so much content in there.
They put a Mario Kart racer in one of their Mortal Kombat games. Like, they took the time to make that. And
yeah, they still think outside the box, and they always want to provide as much content and as much like replayability to keep players coming back to it. So things like that I always find very awesome that they do. But one of the things that just took me aback was just the paying money for easy fatalities rather than just like,
oh yeah, what the hell was up with that? It's like two less buttons than the actual fatality.
It's just basically buying like a shortcut for the fatalities rather than just like doing the whole like back, forward, up, down, things like that. You just pretty much hold down the trigger button and either the square, triangle, circle, or X for the PS4. You either do that. It's like the only 2 button presses.
I will judge people who ever do that. If I find you spending money for easy fatalities, I will perform a fatality on you.
That's the thing. Like, as you play the game, I mean, either online or throughout the exhibition or the means of playing in some fashion, you do get the you get the coins to unlock stuff in the crypt, and they just take too long to unlock everything. And they also have the ridiculous audacity to have you pay $20 to unlock everything in the crypt. As well.
It's like, I understand the appeal to people who don't have time to go to play through all the modes and get all the coins, but then it's like, why are you playing video games in the first place? Because like, part of the fun of Mortal Kombat is like, unlocking new brutalities or a fatality or costumes or fan art, and then just like, if you're so quick to not play the game, why don't you just not play it and watch YouTube videos of it online?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that there's some guide out there that they'll tell you where to go to get certain things. Because I don't really care about unlocking like the artwork or music, because that's in the game as I play.
That's my kryptonite. I love that shit.
I love to get like all the fatalities and all the costumes. That's the most important thing for me. But yeah, it even does that throughout the game. You can unlock easy fatalities without even having to play them. You can use them within I think online or exhibition, and you can use them, and there's a lot of things in there that they try to do that you see a lot in mobile games. You get certain things given to you, and then there's certain things that you can't do without having to pay something or getting extra coins. It feels like a free to play game at times in some parts. That's what kind of boggles it down a little bit for me. But overall, if you just ignore all that stuff, and you're gonna get a lot of enjoyment out of it. There's a lot of they don't have that much people in here as much. They had to cut a few people back. But the thing is that with each character they have 3 variations, so each variation is very different from one another. So that pretty much adds on to the remaining other characters that weren't in that game. So if you are missing Striker, you can always use Cassie Cage's variation, and they'll have like guns and stuff in there. So it's like a replacement removing a character and adding it to a character with like it's just a variation. So it's like three different possibilities that you can go with just one character.
And they handle very differently when
Right.
they have their different variation. And that was the thing I wasn't clear about before, that I didn't understand before the game was released. I thought it was going to be like on the fly, changing variations, but it's just like you select one before you go into the match.
Right.
Because when Deadly Alliance and Deception and Armageddon came out with the Mortal Kombat entries, they did that, where it's just like, okay, we're just going to have a bunch of different fighting styles. They got just so cumbersome and messy, and then they streamlined it down in MK9. And then they just said, you know what, like, let's just make it pure fighting, and just now the variations are what really work. And surprisingly, a lot of the new members of the cast are really good. Welcome additions, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, I personally I can't really say, because I've been playing so much of like a lot of online matches with people within my inner circle, with Steve Rome, Deep Boys from the BGB, and they're all really good. They're definitely better than I am. I bested them in a few rounds here and there, but like out of the 10 fights with them, I probably won 3 of them, so that says a lot. I just haven't had enough time to practice really, and there's so much, and you have to the blocking is very much important this time around for sure. Because if you don't block, you're gonna get spanked with somebody that knows a lot of like 10-hit combos. You're gonna be done like in seconds. So you're gonna be like, what the heck happened? What happened?
The people who use Ermac can just go straight to hell. Just because I cannot. He teleports all around. Like he's got those are the worst. The teleporters and the ones who like have magic and that just can summon from behind. You can't block against those.
Oh, like Quan Chi when he grabs you with his teleportation.
Shinnok, Quan Chi, Ermac, and like those guys. I can't stand them.
Well, the people who use them are the ones that don't really know how to play the game too well, so they use those kind of characters that will spam the hell out of you, and unless you're really good at countering those, you're probably going to be really annoyed at them. I actually used to use Ermac with MK9. I actually did know some moves, but Striker was probably my best dude that I knew how to play. I wasn't the kind of guy that spam people. That's what people think. They get a misconception with Striker. I'm the very efficient use of Striker. I use a lot of moves. I use his baton, his throws, and occasional grenades. But I don't constantly spam with the gun. Really, he's more of a striker, which I like. Hence the name.
His X-ray move is just fantastic because it begins with him just going. Flashing his flashlight into the opponent's eyes and just going, spread him, and then proceeding to kick the crap out of him. But Steve Rome also said it's Scorpion that's the problem, and I gotta agree. As much as I love Scorpion, his teleporting move needs to be nerfed a lot, or just like removed, or something done. Just because, he's like the staple mark of the franchise. It's like having a Super Smash Brother game without Mario, but there's some problems with Scorpion.
Really, I haven't played against anyone online against Scorpion. All I've been really using is Kenshi. Kenshi has been my go-to guy. That's the only real guy I really know how to use. Like I use his at first I used this like possessed Kenshi variation where he just summons like this it pretty much summons like this demonic powers kind of thing. It's a lot more of a it's more of a very ranged range attack kind of variation. He doesn't use his samurai sword at all in that variation, and then I decided to try the other variation where he uses a samurai sword and his eyes are like blue, and I like that one the most because he uses his sword a lot. They're very quick and very quick use of his swords and a lot of interesting variation combos that I want to like to try more with Kenshi. I haven't tried the other last variation, but that's the one I've been using the most for sure. That I've been getting by at pretty good. I've just been really doing most of like the classic towers and stuff like that to get to come. That's the best way to hone your skills if you want to get into playing online. Once you do that, I've only played like maybe less than 10 online fights with random people. It's been pretty good. No one's been pretty hamming or cheesy at all. And I haven't had the situation where one of the cool things they added was the quitality, where someone quits out of the game and then they get this fatality screen that someone quits. I like that a lot. It was really cool that they added in there.
I have not seen that yet.
And I think there's something more advanced going on there. So if I think the game will know if someone quit out of the game or if they just lost connection. So it'll know the difference. That happened once before. Someone got lost out of the game, which I guess due to the connection. So that's what happened for sure.
And also faction kills, which I thought that was going to be something kind of nebulous and not actually impactful, but that's actually kind of a fun thing where you can, the more fights you win or the more experience you get for your faction, you got 5 different factions, then you level up and you get more fatalities. I was in the Lin Kuei faction, so I could summon Smoke, love Smoke, but to appear and just like slice some guy's head off, and all the different factions have those different kills, and the more you level up, the more kills and different kind of finishers you can get, which is, I think, interesting connection right there.
Yeah, I like those additions to the game as well with the faction kills, giving more variety to how you want to finish off somebody. I also like a lot the beginning of the match, where depending on who you pick, each character will have their own little piece of specific dialogue for the other, which is really cool. It really helps a lot to reduce the repetition of the dialogue. That was one of the problems with Injustice. They repeated the same dialogue over and over. And this one has been added with more variations of the dialogue, which is really cool. I like that a lot. Just little things like that, which makes the game even much more better, and replayability adds a lot to it. So, we gave a good thumbs up on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was really surprised looking at the credits, and just like a lot of these people sound familiar. I wonder why. And I was looking through. It's like, oh my gosh, Trisha Helfer is Sonya Blade. That is awesome. And Kelly Hu is Deborah. Like I did not recognize them. It's like there's a little something. It's like I wonder what that is.
Oh, wow.
They're getting some pretty big talent on that.
Yeah, I haven't noticed, because I haven't even played the story mode yet. I've just been I've been off in my own world doing exhibition matches and doing some of that those classic towers. The towers. I tried once the living towers, which is really cool. It changed, the environment changes as you play, and there was this one part I couldn't even play because I got so dizzy because the environment and the stage just like shifts like slowly left and right as you play. So whoa, it's a little bit messing with my equilibrium here.
They have all those fun things, and sometimes like randomly ice balls will fall from the sky and you'll be frozen, or everybody's invisible, or some kind of adjustment.
Yeah, it definitely adds a lot. This game is made for replayability in mind. You can sink so many hours in this game and not get bored of it, because you could do so much different things. Just the test your might stuff, test your luck, all that other stuff is in there. It's just so much to play and to grind out to get as much as everything you can in the crypt, rather than just paying money for it, which sometimes may be the easiest way to go, but I will not succumb to this.
Give in to the dark side.
Drop the $20.
Do it.
Continue the trend.
It's the WB president just like petting like the $20 unlockable content, just like, you want this, don't you?
Fortunately, I hope we don't get plagued with that at all in The Witcher 3. I think CD Projekt Red has hold their ground on when it comes to that. We've already kind of discussed a few months ago that they that they have like 16 pieces of DLC that they're putting out for free, like on, I think it was on release or in some shape or form. But yeah, I mean, they can give away free DLC. What is this?
For free?
This is mad.
This is Silent Hills, because I have gone mad, just like with how insane that kind of savings are.
Speaking of Silent Hills,
waiting to get into this one. Yep, it's Silent Hills is dead. Because it looked promising, so of course Konami had to shoot themselves in the foot. It's they've announced that it's been dead, and there's been a lot of rampant speculation that they're doing corporate restructuring at Konami, especially since a lot of their revenue is not earned from video games; it's earned from gambling, and apparently they don't really care anymore. They're just restructuring, breaking apart their teams. They're taking the word is and of course this is also speculation, that Hideo Kojima actually didn't want to sue the company just because of the fact that he really wanted the Phantom Pain to be the best game it possibly could be. So he's holding off on that until it's done, and to do that he kind of has to avoid litigation or causing a big stink, which is really sad from an artistic standpoint, because they're really screwing him over by removing his name off of essentially everything.
Yeah, that's really shitty, because it's not like, I mean, I'm sure he's put a lot of work and blood, sweat, and tears into that game, just have like all that work he's put into just removed from the game in terms of his credits that he rightfully deserves on that cover. It's terrible what's been going on with Konami.
Kojima world over, Steve Arum. It looked promising, and God, just Guillermo del Toro and Kojima can't ever get a break. They just, they've been trying. Both of them have been trying to branch out and do something new. Kojima tried to do another planned game. It didn't get through, and he was really sad about that. He did Lords of Shadow. That took him forever to convince the higher ups to let him do. And then Del Toro, he's just like his first game that he wanted to do was Psycho, or I can't remember what it was called, but essentially that one got booted out the door, and then he worked on this one. It's like, oh my gosh, all the right elements are coming together. This is too good to be true. And guess what? It was, because they just decided to pull the plug on it. Man, I really hope someone like Nintendo gets Kojima, like his own team, and just like say, okay, you know what? We know you guys rock. You take your time on your projects, and that's another problem but I think one of the things that they were speculating about Konami was that they didn't like the fact that it took him so long to make the games, and the profit margins for those games were sliding as the series continued on.
The Splinter Theory was right.
Yeah. It's not so it's all about corporate greed. So it's he was the last reason why a lot of people sided with that said, like, okay, Konami's still alive by a thread, as Tagibby for said that he's the reason Konami has any worth these days, and that's true, because Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hills, they're all their properties, and they've mistreated them all horribly. The only team I can think of that has done anything worse with their franchises is, of course, the Sonic team and Sega. Ooh. But I won't. Let's not say things we can't take back. So I won't say they're as bad. But oh boy, I feel bad for Kojima. I really hope the Phantom Pain's a huge. It's going to be a huge success, I feel. But I really hope that a publisher picks him up, and like if Take-Two or Nintendo or hell, even Microsoft or Sony or anybody or Valve pick them up and just say, like, listen, we know you guys got the talent. Take as much time as you. Valve time. Come on, like it's been 10 years since their last Half-Life game. Like, they know when to take some time.
Yeah, you mentioned Take-Two. It'd be really interesting to see Kojima be a part of that. Under that wing, like I'm sure he's had a lot, has shown that he's got a lot of respect for Rockstar and what they've done in GTA 5 that kind of made him depressed. Just seeing like that open world, it would be really cool to see Kojima work with like, Rockstar in some way to make something. That would be cool.
Maybe the people at Rockstar felt bad for making Kojima so sad about like the graphics comparison, because Ground Zeroes looks pretty damn good on the Fox engine, but just like what they were able to pull off with GTA 5 was pretty huge. And making him sad, they're probably like, okay, well, we just won't release the online portion for a year, and that'll give him some buffering time to get his spirits back up.
That makes sense.
That's the only reason why I could forgive the 1 year of waiting.
He had to give Kojima a whole year to get over that hump.
Yeah, because he deserves his time.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because really, of any series that needed some kind of new life pumped into it, it would have been Silent Hill.
Oh my god, yeah.
After all the games after like Silent Hill 3, that series has been coagulated with just offshoot titles that try to best or replicate what the successes of 2 and 3 and failed miserably at getting the point of why those games were scary and what the point of those games even were. So I mean, I can't say for sure how Silent Hills would have turned out. It may not. Who knows? It may not have been good, but at least it would have been something different. It would have been. Yeah. It would have been at least a different take on that series. At least it seemed like from like the concept trailers that they put out, they were gonna go kind of for the traditional kind of Japanese horror, more than anything. And that in and of itself would have been pretty interesting to see. Even with PT, I mean, I played PT.
Oh yeah.
It would have been some. It was at least something different. A lot of and the Fox engine is made very well for that demo. I heard that they're taking that off the marketplace, the PSN marketplace. I think they already did, or they going to this month. I don't know if you can still play it after they remove it from the store. I'm gonna try after this.
I think you can go into downloads, your whatever you downloaded, and it's not available on the store, but you can go through the back channels of what you had purchased and ordered and downloaded. So yeah, they're getting rid of PT, but damn, I was only watching walkthrough videos. That was unnerving of what was going on, and Guillermo del Toro is just, whenever he does horror, he does it damn well. So just like him teaming up with Kojima, who's insane himself. So I that's why I think they got together. It's like, hey, I'm crazy, you're crazy, let's make something crazy. And of course Norman Reedus, who's very, very good at being in horror and hyper violent situations. So they had like it was a slam dunk, and it wasn't to be.
Yeah, according to Tag, it says if you downloaded it, you can still play it. But if you haven't downloaded it yet, you're shit out of luck. Yeah, but I'm gonna keep that closely to me, because I still have it downloaded on my PS4. So I'll see if I can maybe back it up in some way.
And no, that's not funny, Tag Gibby. I don't want to talk about Homecoming. All right, we ignore that one, and we will always ignore that one.
The one with Nick Lachey?
Yeah. Oh, that one was just like
the one that looks like Nick Lachey.
No, we're not. We don't talk about that. Like, if we want to talk about one, we'll talk about Shattered Memories on the Wii, but we will not talk about Homecoming.
Oh man.
Yeah. Jeez. So anyway, I wish I had better news to talk about after that, but.
No, it's definitely something that had to be discussed, and get our 2 senses on. I mean, there's not much to say other than it's just very disappointing, and it's just it's definitely one of the top fails of this year. Not having this go through.
Just wait for it, because this next story I'm going to bring up might actually have. Compete with Konami, strangely enough, of how bad of an idea they had, which was the Valve decided to, on their Steam system, allow for paid mods, which was a huge disaster. They got they got criticized, and rightfully so. And they had Gabe Newell try to defend it, and then the next day said, "Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing." This makes me really worried because this is Valve. These are the guys who test everything, who make sure everything is ready before ever sending it to market, and this is something that they didn't think through. And this makes me really worried because they didn't really think about the consequences about, okay, so if they're paid mods, how much will the moderators get? What about for mods that have been available free for years? Is it a retrograde thing? What about the companies? Are the companies going to get a share of the profits? If these people are getting paid, are they technically considered the company? Are they consultants? Is that another sort of avenue of interest they have to go down with? And they didn't really have a plan for this. And the worst thing is that they said, yeah, we're not doing it now, but we're probably going to do it again in the future. It's like, you guys didn't learn. You guys didn't... You just, like, stop talking about it now, research it internally, and then bring it on out, because you sure as heck didn't do it right now.
Right. I've heard about this in passing. I really didn't follow it too much, other than just them going back on that whole attempt to get that going, fully and keeping it going. But I don't know how I feel about it because I'm not really into the modding as much as I once was when I did play PC games. A little bit more than in the console games. I'm all for like supporting the people who make these mods, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence in companies like nowadays and doing the right thing and having the profit margin be in favor of the creators of these mods, because I do feel they do deserve some compensation, whether it be donations. I think donations would be the best route for sure.
The people who did Black Mesa, that just like, geez, those guys must have just poured their lives into that because of how well that turned out. It turned out better than Half-Life 2.
Yeah, that actually that is a good point, Tag. I mean, what's wrong with just adding a donation button to mods and letting people choose? I mean, I think that was that requires some thoughts, which they didn't do. Tag.
Oh my! Steam has done. Yeah, a donation button would be fantastic. Just of, these people who work diligently on this, and people actually do donate money to people who deserve it. As we've seen with Louis C.K., he relied on people's donations to get by, and he trusted, and his trust was rewarded with a good, strong, standing ovation financially for his work. And I feel that would be the same here. But I'm also worried about another side of Steam, which is they're giving their developers too much power. And that sounds weird, but I'll explain why. Like with the big games, you can pretty much trust the companies are going to do their, maybe not even at the most moral or ethical routes, but at least they'll go through the right standards and practices. But with these new developers, or these developers who just shit out games that are terrible, that just like steal content and materials from other games, just slap it together for a quick buck. They have so much money that Jim Sterling has essentially done an entire series about developers he badmouthed or games that he completely destroyed and ripped apart. Just like, okay, this is absolutely terrible because it's a barely functioning game, and they want like Steam early access money for it, and then they immediately remove his comments or threaten him with legal action. And unfortunately, Steam doesn't really have enough power to do anything about it because they don't even have a rating system for a lot of these games. It's essentially just like, oh, here's games that are similar, and if you leave feedback that's negative, now you can have it removed. And now Steam has allowed the developers to boot cheaters on the game, on online games. But how far will that stretch into them misusing the system? I don't know. Of just like, oh, I don't like this guy's bad mouthing our game, I'm going to boot him and say he's cheating, even though he's been like a 10-year veteran of Steam. it's absolutely infuriating. And the green light thing, where they do you know of the game Hatred?
Yeah, I think that's the one with I saw the trailer for where it was pretty much this guy kind of shooting people, just pretty much massacring people like nothing. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep, it's a Columbine kid's wet dream of just of going around killing innocent people. It got approved on Steam Greenlight, and then got controversy, and then Steam removed it. I'm sorry, Valve removed it for editorial or censorship reasons, and then they got called out and being kind of two-faced about it. It's like, listen, you didn't give a damn before about what this is, and now you've made a story by paying attention to it. So they had to sheepishly bring it back. It's like, listen, I'm probably gonna badmouth it. Just like, it's tasteless, it's crass, it doesn't really solve anything. It's for the worst kind of entertainment, and then it would go away. But by doing this, they make it an issue. And if they were so concerned about their image, then they should have some kind of quality control, because they don't. And say what you will about the indie games on the 360 marketplace that are terribly made and just made for that are just like the base, the least. There are terrible games. There's terrible beat 'em ups. There's quiz games. There's avatar games left and right that are just absolutely terrible. But at least it goes through an approval process. There is no approval process for a lot of Steam games. It's just it goes under the radar because there's so many games out there, and there's nobody to police it. It's the Wild West.
Right. I mean, I think there's definitely needs to be something updated on that. It's from the games that I've seen when I visit. I haven't really used Steam that much. From what I've seen, it's just nuts. It's just so much on there that just get approved, and I just left wondering how did this get approved? I mean, I can make a Flash game better than this.
And you are not exaggerating. I have never touched HTML. I've never touched Flash. I've never made my own game. I guarantee you, we could make a better game in 2 days than some of these people who just blatantly take materials from other games, or just buy content packs of characters and just throw them in an environment and then demand $30 for them, or early access passes, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And their Valve has no quality control, and that's the biggest knock against the PC master race that I got right now. Okay, that's funny. Tag Gibby says, yeah, but more importantly, what would your pre-order bonus be? I think a nice big old middle finger to you and $20 less of your money. That's the only thing that it would be. It's oh god, it is terrible. And I was hoping that consoles would look more like PC in terms of Valve and mods and ease of use, but now I'm kind of seeing the downside of kind of this open range, free choice marketplace where the worst has complete say over what. It wouldn't be so bad if comments were more protected, if players could actually rate and comment more freely without retribution or fear of retribution than what's been going on right now.
Yeah, I just hope that it gets a lot better, because there's definitely a lot of games that I'm sure are good that are made by independent people that it just gets
to the moon.
It just gets lost with all this other crap. And people just ignore it because they think it's they may think it's crap just by an image, and rightfully so, because there's so much other crap that it kind of ruins it for them.
It's just so blatantly terrible, and they can't really do anything about it. The only thing that you can do is maybe report them for using images or blatantly stealing, not just taking models out of a pack and just making a game out of it that's obviously something of a much better game, but just for very small reasons you can report them, but they're just like there's no. I would rather there would be more defense and more support for the people who are buying this, the customers, and just giving them more options in terms of leaving feedback and opinions. I've never seen a system that doesn't allow such a popular delivery method of content to have such poor feedback availability, where you can just I've easily got over 15 games on my Steam account, and not one of them I can write a review, but I can't make it known. Like, there's no IMDb version of this or Rotten Tomatoes aggregate score, or if you make a bad comment, then you can, or a negative comment, I should say, then you can have your comment removed by the moderators for that developer. And it's really, really pathetic in terms of just how badly the customers is kept safe.
Right. Well, hopefully things get better. As Kanye West once said, no one man can have all that power. Yes. No. Well, Kanye West thinks he can, especially when. Why did he go up again? He knew damn well what he was doing. Like, oh, haha, it's a joke. And then I was just thinking, no, he was actually going up there because regular people learn from their mistakes. Kanye West, he is not regular people. He is a man convinced that he is Jesus Christ incarnate. And that makes me worried more than delighted in terms of how idiotic that sounds. Yeah, there's not much to say on that, but other than yeah. It goes without saying. Yep. So, on better news, I guess, the Playtonic, the developer team who worked on Banjo-Kazooie and a lot of rare games who did work on them have come together to make the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie called Yooka-Laylee, which is very similar to Banjo-Kazooie, where you'll be playing as a chameleon and your sidekick will be a bat. Apparently it had a goal of, I think, I want to say $725,000, and now it's at $1.9 million in terms of how much, and it was funded in less than 40 minutes in terms of the Kickstarter goal. And just like try to convince people now that people don't want platformers, and that's a good bit of news that people are willing to take a gamble just because it's a new IP. The people behind it are talented, and it looks like a good idea. And so I'm very happy to see this kind of crowdfunding really pay off for a good idea. Absolutely, I love any opportunity that I get to see or play a new platformer. It's just it just reinvigorates my ideas that that this kind of game can still go on, and in this time of day. I love platformers, so I'm on full support on this, and seeing what else that gets put out this year. I'm actually looking forward to the new Yoshi game on Nintendo, which is the one that's kind of like, it has this interesting art design that is, everything's like very yarn. Yeah, very yarn oriented, very yarn aesthetic design and presentation. So I look forward to that later this year. So platformers are still very much alive. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Donkey Kong Country Returns is one of my favorite games of Generation 7 of video games, hands down. Just, I loved it so much, and it made me excited to play a game, even though I knew the controls, even though I knew what to expect. Just, there was so much energy and love and devotion to this, just like this presentation. It made me feel like a kid again when I was playing the first Donkey Kong Country. Oh yeah, I feel you. I wanted to play some aquatic ambience after I first played Donkey Kong Country Returns in the background. That's some good stuff. Love that. Love that underwater music. I'll never forget it. It's just like forever burnt in my skull. That such a melodic and relaxing little little number that plays, and you're swimming around in the water. Why gorillas swimming on the water? I don't know, but it was beautiful.
That don't need to breathe air. They can just be down there forever.
It was beautiful, and riding on swordfishes. On
guard, yeah.
Whew.
Those are some good days.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about. This has been something that I want to discuss with you on the Batman Superman trailer.
Oh, okay. Yep. Let's go.
Things is
hold on, wait.
It's officially.
I gotta get ready for our stare down, like in the first teaser. You are. I'll be Superman coming down. You'll be Batman looking up at me, and we'll do our stare off.
Right. I'm staring at the microphone to represent you.
I'm staring at pictures of Elizabeth Olsen. She's pretty, and
Ooh.
She makes my heart go pitter patter. By the way, Age of Ultron, excellent, and she's excellent as Scarlet. Everyone is excellent in that film. Just fantastic. Loved it. Loved everything about it. I think I'll get more of it the second time around, but I definitely think that this is one of the best superhero films I've ever seen.
I enjoyed it. That's what I'll say.
No. You thought it was fantastic.
I enjoyed it.
Why you got to bring up shit, man? Why you gotta be bringing this up in front of our fans? You are embarrassing me. You are embarrassing my clan. You are just not. And you know what? It just us. You know. Okay. No. You know. We'll talk about Batman versus Superman. Let's talk about DC.
DC.
You're as in that's crazy that you think that. You know.
What I think.
That you enjoyed it. You didn't enjoy it. You know it. That's what people who hate movies say about movies. Like, no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I like the movie a lot. I'm not gonna hate on it. As much as I like to stay neutral in these kind of things, I will say that there is some bias with me. I am a DC man through and through. I do like Marvel titles. I mean, not too long ago was I talking and praising up with the Uncanny X-Force that I read a while back. One of my favorite stories that I've ever read from Marvel was the Uncanny X-Force, the secret X-Force led by Wolverine, including the members of Psylocke, Phantom X, one of my favorite characters, Phantom X, Grant Morrison creation, Deadpool, Archangel, and what's the other one? Was it Psylocke? I said that already. But
Colossus?
Yes, no, not Colossus, but it was pretty much a story about trying to stop Apocalypse by killing him at his infantile stage. And it was pretty much talking about it was talking about the morality of what they do, and whether the ends justify the means. Pretty much
back in time.
Yeah, that was a lot of that. I really enjoyed the hell out of that.
And also, before we go any further, I just want to let you know I'm just giving you shit to give you shit. I don't actually hate you for not loving it as much. You know?
No.
I don't want this to go to bed just like this to fester into like Tupac and Biggie, where like this is where the cracks start.
Both of them get shot, so anything can happen.
It's a Greek tragedy, man. It really is. It was the night that was like the big story of the 90s. That and the day that we had O.J. Simpson going on his driving spree down the highway.
No. I definitely get where you're getting at there. I love that. I love that little beef we got there. I really liked Age of Ultron. I'm not gonna affront on that. I enjoyed it. It was very good. I'm not gonna lie. There was a few moments in there where I got salty and I was like, "Damn it, DC! What the hell are you doing?
Why
are you taking so long?"
I don't know what they're gonna do. I really hope they pull it off, because the Batman versus Superman trailer that we saw, it looks much better than what I was expecting, because they actually deal with a lot. For all the Superman stuff, they talk about the story issues, and where it's like, okay, so essentially we have a god coming down, just like, okay, what is this place in our world? This interesting idea of like, okay, now he's this religious icon, which is like, at first it was pretty blatant subtext in the first movie, but now it's like, okay, this is actually a story idea, where it's like, okay, he's now being worshipped and he's thought of as a savior, and what does this mean for international security? Mm-hmm. And the only thing, and then we get to the Batman stuff, and it's Ben Affleck grimacing, looking at the suit, and just like a lot of the visual stuff. I would really have liked to have learned what his role in the film would be. It
was very Watchmen-esque. Reminded me a lot of Watchmen, since Zack Snyder directed it, of Night Owl looking at the suit and him feeling inadequate.
Ben Affleck naked staring at his suit.
Well, minus the naked part, but it was very reminiscent of that moment in Watchmen.
With the Dark Knight Returns armor.
Right. Oh, it looks glorious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited about this. I don't understand some of the hate on this trailer. One of the things is it's a teaser trailer. I don't know how much you expect them to show. Like to be honest, that for a teaser trailer, they showed a good amount of stuff. Like maybe not story wise what you're expecting, but visually they showed a lot what people were looking forward to. And if you go back to The Dark Knight, the teaser, they didn't show anything. All you heard was audio clips from the movie, and the Joker laugh at the end. They didn't show anything, and people didn't get upset over that.
No, yeah,
it's just there's some bias going on there. That's all I'll say.
There is, yeah.
But I'm willing to be neutral. I mean, be fair on this. I'm very looking forward to seeing more for sure. I mean, they showed a good amount for the teaser trailer. It is very much. I like the idea that they're setting up is a continuation of Man of Steel, and a lot of the problems people have with Man of Steel is carrying over to this movie and actually making it a focal point in the plot, which is cool. It was very good, especially the issues where people had with Superman pretty much destroying Metropolis.
There was that one at the end of the Man of Steel Kryptonian fight where they're destroying the world engine. Like all the spoiler alert, all the Kryptonians get sucked back into the Phantom Zone, and one of the workers of the Daily Planet like sees Superman touching down, and she's like, "He saved us." And I'm like, "Woman, do you see the city? He saved some cinders, but come on, it's not exactly like, okay, guys, let's get back to work."
Yeah, that was definitely one of the kind of maybe weaker points of the film. But you also got to take into account. I think they're going with obviously they were going with the Superman that is just starting out. He hasn't really fine-tuned his Superman powers yet. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're kind of going for, story-wise, and a lot of it is kind of tying to this movie as well, Batman v Superman. There's definitely a lot of inspiration of Dark Knight Returns, and they're kind of switching the roles around. It looks like from the trailer that Batman may be going after Superman because Batman doesn't trust anybody. And obviously what happened with Metropolis, he definitely doesn't trust Superman. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of, I think without even saying, you kind of know what's going on. I don't know how you not know. Maybe because some folks are not familiar with the Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. I mean, there's still quite a lot more to it that they haven't showed yet. We haven't even seen. We don't even know how much involvement that the other Justice League members have. Since this is a catalyst to the Justice League movie, we still don't even know how much screen time we'll even get for them. There's a lot of things, a lot of speculation you can make on it. I'm looking forward to it. The Jeremy Irons voiceover was really good. I like that.
Yes. If there's anything, I would say that Jeremy Irons could definitely carry a much more hardened. I was about to say Michael Caine. No, that was the actor who played Alfred, but he could play a much more, not cynical, but a little bit more harder-edged Alfred. I feel like if they want to go the route where he wasn't actually really a butler at all. If they were going the Earth One, I think it was direction, where he was actually a military agent, and he knew the Waynes and kind of just adopted Bruce as as his caretaker, and then just kind of fell into the gig of being the butler.
Yeah, the very gun-toting Alfred.
Yeah, and I could definitely see Irons pulling that off. The only thing that really made me there's a couple of things. I think you are a little bit more optimistic than I am. So maybe you are the Superman and then I'm the Batman in this situation.
Oh no.
Where hey Splinter, man, do you bleed? I don't know, but you will after I break it down like this.
I'll break it down.
I like the imagery. It's of the cinematography. I'm still really concerned that it looks way too desaturated.
Mm-hmm.
Where nothing pops off the screen. Whereas where in Watchmen, and then again, this is just a few images that I saw. Like with Watchmen, Larry Fong was also the director of photography on that one, and everything looked brilliant. I loved all the colors looked just vibrant. It really captured the look and feel of the comic book without aping the really grotesque visual coloring of it, where it got the impression of it. I would love for that to be, if they are doing the Dark Knight Returns sort of storyline influence, not like, of course, kind of like the Winter Soldier, where it's like not scene for scene, but it's like a spiritual adaptation, where you have Batman and Superman facing off, where I feel like there should be a much more direct contrast between them, if not just in personality, then at least in kind of this visual style. Because Dark Knight Returns, like one of the pictures that stands out that somebody was like Patton Oswalt was talking about, was just this image of Superman next to a horse, his wind blowing in the hair, and he looks like the cover of like a romance novel, and like Batman's like dark and brooding, and then in the corner it's like, I can understand that. I just, it's too early to judge. I absolutely am 100% certain about that, but they're just my initial impressions.
No, that definitely is a valid argument on it. It's very still early to judge, but yeah, that's always kind of been the look. I know that with Zack Snyder films, that it was kind of like that in Man of Steel. There wasn't much color. It was very had this kind of washed out color to it. And also you got to think about the intention of that. That I'm sure that was intended as well, and a lot of people are kind of wanting Superman to be more less brooding than I guess they're expecting. We kind of already
we've seen the happy Superman.
We've seen the happy Superman. We've gotten a lot of the Christopher Reeve stuff, which is great. It was made for the time. But this is, as any other character in comic books, there's a lot of interpretations. They go through the character changes. The character's never the same as they first started out in the comics. So this is one of the things that is going on now. Mm-hmm. And DC are doing their own thing. They're not, as much as they like to say that they're doing their own thing, they want to be on that level of Marvel, making these big action movies that are making
reinterpreted.
Reinterpreted, but they have their own thing going on. They're doing if you're not really into the very non-brooding kind of Marvel movies, and you're looking for something more, I think they do what DC does. I'm trying to come up with a thing to say on it without sounding too biased, but they're kind of doing more of the kind of bringing down this idea of superheroes in the real world. Like, they're kind of going through the path of
verisimilitude.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, they're going through this story arc planned where you're getting more perspective of people's reactions to these superheroes. You don't really get that in any of the Marvel movies. You don't really touch upon people's reactions to the Avengers and stuff like that. They don't really focus on that too much. Yeah.
Where I feel like what DC could easily do that Marvel is not really doing, where Marvel is doing all these characters are kind of flawed human beings from the get-go, and they're more character pieces of these people, whereas DC could be all about kind of these big archetypal characters and how they interact, and that feeling of gods meeting, where it feels epic, it feels sweeping. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel. There's particular ensemble films that I would love to see just these big contrasts of huge personalities, kind of like Game of Thrones, where you have all these, when the leaders come together and they're discussing big ideas of of what their moralities are, and just seeing not from just the character perspective, but kind of what they represent. And that's something DC can do, but I didn't feel was done well at all in Man of Steel. But I think that was largely because of David S. Goyer's really poor script.
Yeah, it definitely has a lot to do with it, and they have good ideas on what they want to do. It's just they haven't quite yet executed. They haven't gotten the right story or screenplay yet. And I think this is what they're trying to do with this movie by bringing in the guy who did Chris Terrio, I think his name is, that did Argo.
He did Argo,
very Oscar-winning writer now. So hopefully that counteracts a little bit with maybe David S. Goyer. He's got some good ideas, but he just needs some fine tuning on the logical and writing sense of the execution. Most importantly, on what he is looking to do with the story. So hopefully we get a little bit more fine tuning on that, and it hopefully pans out well. I mean, I think I really do hope this turns out well. I can't say for sure whether or not it will be good or not, but I Warner Brothers seems to be really behind this, and I can't see them making too big mistakes or taking too much risk on this. But I see it being a very above average film.
Yeah, I as well.
That's my prediction. It'll be good, but not super amazing, but it'll be at least not bad.
I have more faith because of what I've seen. What the change of screenwriter has instantly improved my mood over it, because I didn't think Argo was amazing, but I thought it was at least a solid script. I don't know if winning an Oscar makes Chris Terrio as good of... I mean, for instance, Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote The Usual Suspects, much like Chris Terrio, that was his first theatrical film, and that got huge critical acclaim, and it won a bunch of awards. And then he went on to do Valkyrie and The Tourist and Jack the Giant Slayer, and it wasn't until Edge of Tomorrow that he finally kind of came back to the fold. And so just because he's won an Oscar does not mean he's going to keep doing Oscar-worthy material. So, I mean, I really hope Terrio is locked and loaded for this one. He hasn't done any fantasy or superhero stuff, so that makes... And not a huge lot of ensemble films. I mean, we have Argo, but that was mostly Ben Affleck's story. And I really hope... all I can say is I really hope for the best, because I am more of a fan of Marvel's characters, but that does not mean I am in any way not looking forward to anything DC puts out.
Right. Fair enough. I mean, you do make good points there. He's just only done really one movie. He hasn't really proven himself quite yet. So
I hope I am wrong.
We can only
really
see.
Hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a valid concern or argument to put in there for sure. I mean, he may have just gotten lucky and gotten the good amount of credit for that movie, and it may not do anything good after it. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Or it could show that he really did deserve that Oscar, and I hope that's the case.
Right. So we'll see what happens, and since we're on that subject of superhero movies, Mr. Conviction was asking us if we've seen Avengers 2 yet. I think we both have. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm sorry.
If you didn't listen to it earlier, I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. I berated Splinter for not enjoying it as much as I did. I love that movie. It is. Okay. First, I'm a huge Joss Whedon fanboy, so I'm not. It's not fair to ask me of a fair assessment, but I will say for myself, it is. I feel like a great superhero movie. I feel it is far more complex than the first movie. It's far more nuanced and a lot more layered, and it actually addresses the impermanence of life and immortality and legacy in a very, very, I thought, artistically done way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a very fun movie. That's no question at all. It was a lot of fun, a lot of action. It's just, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of good moments happen. It's just like very in your face, very direct. I can see how this the good amount of things have been cut out. There's just so much in this movie that there's just it
feels like it needed to breathe.
Yeah. I felt that was one of my minor gripes on it. There was definitely some moments I think I needed to breathe for sure. There was so much happening, like scene after scene after scene. The thing with the Iron Man, Hulk, and then after that it was another thing. All that other stuff. It
is constantly the problem. The closest thing I can think of this movie in terms of structure is the first one. The first movie, it was Nashville. This one is much more like Inception in terms of introducing a lot of concepts, a lot of character motive. It's introducing a lot of concepts, a lot of plot in your face. Like, you got to pay attention. But the problem is that it's also a lot of dialogue and a lot of character stuff, which is subtle and nuanced, which takes a little bit more time to digest. And I think it'll probably stand up better to repeat viewings, as well as they're apparently working on a 3.5-hour version of a director's cut, which I am really looking forward to. But it definitely feels like there's so much in here. We gotta get it all in there, and it's really, really good. But just keep that in mind. Just like, you got to be paying attention.
Oh yeah, you can't really go to the bathroom and come back, because you might have missed something pretty good. Honestly, there's a lot of things that go on. See you later, Tag. Thank you for stopping by.
Mm-hmm. Before you go, I'll answer your question. How do I feel about Joss leaving Marvel movies? I think he's still being around for producer, but yeah, he said that he's tired, and it's taken a lot out of him to just do these 2 Avengers movies. I feel like
it almost killed him.
Yeah, it almost killed him. He was like on damage control for Thor when they were doing mid-production rewrites, and I think he's earned a rest. If he never comes back, I'll be sad, but he's put out 2 incredible superhero films. And I will always love him for that, and I wish him all the best.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think if we'd never gotten those Avengers movies, I don't even think we may have even gotten like a Batman Superman movie. Honestly,
no. That was the one that tested the water. It was like, I don't know if people are willing to have a Batman Superman movie, just like team up movies. And then when Avengers came along, they laid down a lot of groundwork. It was like Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and then all of them leading and coming together for the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Marvel has been the catalyst for this. I mean, they don't have the exact perfect formula, but they've been...
No, some of them have been a bit wonky.
Yeah, they've been on track to at least have... I mean, they've pretty much proven that this can work. There may have been some bumps in the road, but this idea of building up to something bigger, like all the other Marvel movies connecting with one another and building up to what is to be the Infinity Wars. I don't know too much about Marvel, but I know a little bit about the Infinity Gauntlet that they tease, that they're teasing with Thanos and the gems and all that, which is going to be crazy insane how they pull all that off, with Thanos being this superpowered character, kind of like the what is his face?
He's Darkseid.
Darkseid
He's
of DC.
Marvel's version of Darkseid, or Marvel's version of Apocalypse, which like they use that trope a lot of like a lot of these big hulking bad guys who are nigh invincible. Except he doesn't have curvy laser beam eyes as Darkseid has.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood that. Like, why is it like a frequency thing that he does?
I don't know.
Because like if you stand in the right spot, the laser beam will just like go over your head and back down, and it won't hit you. So just like you gotta judge that distance just right.
It kind of reminds me of Bloodborne. There's a segment in there where you get shot down by a laser beam, and I thought I almost got hit, but the laser beam just like was way up, like very close up above my head. It seemed like it should hit me, but it didn't. I got lucky on that. Bloodborne's getting crazy. already. I made a lot of progress. I put in at least 25 hours in that game, and I still haven't beat it. I think I'm close, but I'm at that point where I'm kind of stuck again. That's the thing for me. I make progress. I beat a couple bosses, and I go back down. It's like I'm stuck. I can't do anything right now. And then I come back again, and then back down.
I love watching people dissect the lore of Bloodborne and the characters and everything that's going on, because it takes a lot of influence from Lovecraft, apparently.
There's a big Metal Gear Solid reference at the end of Bloodborne, from what I've heard.
Oh, now I gotta watch it.
But I don't know exactly what it is, but I've heard tale that there's some Metal Gear Solid reference in Bloodborne in some way. Maybe Steve Arone will know because he's beaten the game.
Your character just looks up. It's like, Metal Gear. It can't be.
There's a couple ladders in the game, so I wouldn't be surprised that you get a long ladder you gotta climb up there, and then it starts. You hear in the distance. What a thrill!
Drinking blood in the night. What a thrill!
Yeah, very, very. I'm still trudging on in that game. I love it. It just takes.
You certainly get your money's worth out of time.
You do. There's so much to do in there, and it's just you spend a lot of time with it because you're always honing your skills and you're honing your skills and also kind of discovering new things. It's very Metroidvania-esque because there's always areas that are locked off that you can always find alternate paths to later on, and then it'll just make the journey that much easier because there'll be like a door that you can't access early on in the game, and once you access it, you can easily go through like one location that took you like 10 minutes to get there because the door was locked first, and now that you open it, you can get there quicker. Things like that, I like a lot. It's very good. But
exploration in From Software games is always rewarding.
Yeah, and they have so much. They have so much like a rich lore that you don't even notice. Like you can really look into the lore very much into the lore, and like you see it a lot in the YouTube videos. They take so much. There's a lot of room for interpretation in the lore, but you can. It's one of those games that doesn't force the story or lore on you too heavily. It's there, but it's up to you to really put the pieces together as you do well, please. But it's mainly. I've been mainly trying to just play the game, so I don't really know what's going on for the most part. I have a few ideas, but not to the level of other people that put together so much. I mean, even the item descriptions tell you a lot about the lore too. So back to on Avengers, very enjoyable movies. It's definitely one of the most exciting movies out this year. I can't think of really any of the movies that I've seen this year that I enjoyed as much as this, because really not much.
The Imitation Game comes close.
Ooh.
Yeah, high praise for him in The Imitation Game. And speaking of DC properties, have you seen the photo for Suicide Squad?
Yeah, Suicide Squad, and also we haven't touched upon Jared Leto as Joker.
Oh, yeah, the picture.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of what happens. I mean, because I don't know, like with the Joker for the Dark Knight with I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Not Mark Wahlberg. I don't know why I'm thinking about Mark Wahlberg. Who was the actor who played the Joker?
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. Yeah. Jeez, why did I forget about that? And his look, it wasn't traditional, but I was like, oh, okay, this could be interesting. This just feels like, I don't know, like the tattoos and just like looking essentially like the Insane Clown Posse, just like met up with Suburban Gothic and just had a baby. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be awesome. It just was a little bit of an off-putting image for me.
Yeah, same with me. It didn't really appeal to me at all. It was very. It felt like they were trying too hard, and sometimes, as much as I like some of the DC movies, or maybe DC decisions they make, they're not the most subtle in their
marketing.
Their marketing, yeah. It definitely shows on the tattoos. Like it's too much. Like it's like they try to jam in so much like backstory on the Joker, but through his tattoos, is a bit too
The visual
much.
style.
I think more. I think his performance should speak for itself rather than just the tattoos. I hope that it's just that's just for promotional or marketing.
Yeah.
And he wears like the traditional suit throughout the whole movie. He may have tattoos, but hopefully he has maybe at least a suit on the whole time and not just like shirtless through showing off the tattoos and his teeth. The idea on the teeth is good. Like, I like the idea that I'm sure he's gotten his teeth knocked out in some way, shape, or form by Batman or some other people he's come in contact with. So that makes sense to have some maybe like faulty teeth, but maybe those weren't exactly what I was thinking about. If they want to go down like the more realistic path on that, I see what they were going with, but yeah, it just seems too much to me. It seems like a guy you'd see at a Marilyn Manson concert, honestly.
That, some people were I was reading online, some people were thinking like, okay, maybe this was actually just like a troll. Like this, like they're not actually doing this, but just like they wanted to get such an extreme looking visualization of the Joker that where everyone's like, wait, what the heck's this? And then it comes out like kind of like Deadpool, where it's like, oh no, he's just joking.
They're not too. What is the damn word?
Subtle.
They're not. Yeah, I mean they're not too. They're not that kind of folks that will play around.
Yeah.
With that. It would
maybe not.
They're no Hideo Kojima playing mind games with you.
Maybe the photo was just their version of PT.
Oh, maybe their reaction to Kojima leaving Konami.
that's not even Jared Leto and Joker makeup. He just like walked. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Konami fired Kojima. What?
I think that's the perfect explanation for that.
Mm-hmm. I do wonder, since Suicide Squad, is that coming out 2016 as well as Batman vs Superman, or is it coming out 2015?
I don't think it's coming out anytime this year. I think they're hinting at more than likely I see on the site is for August 5th, 2016. Is that what they're shooting for? That's the release date. That's what it's scheduled for.
I do wonder what type of relationship they're going to establish with Batman. Is Batman a veteran? Is like he just doing this now? Like, does the Joker, like, does he have history with him when they're in Suicide Squad? It'll be interesting. Or is it actually taking place in another timeline?
Yeah, that remains to be seen. I heard rumors that Ben Affleck's been seen on set for this movie, so he may have some sort of cameo or in some way, shape, or form. So it may be tied together in some way. I don't know how I feel about this, because I'm not familiar with a good amount of these characters that are in Suicide Squad. I think I vaguely know a little bit about Suicide Squad. I think it has to do with villains or anti-heroes getting put into a team to do like these highly dangerous missions, and in return getting a lesser sentence in Arkham or something. Something like that.
They had a version of them on Arrow, where it's essentially just like a bunch of, as you said, supervillains or regular villains who are doing this essentially to lessen their sentence. And if they don't, they essentially do pull a battle royale on them, where they have like bombs implanted in their necks, and if they try to escape or try to remove them, they blow up. So it's like either you go to jail and you don't get any sentence, or we put this bomb in your neck, you do what we say. You could die in doing this, but that's better than the alternative.
Yeah. I'm curious as to what the tone is on this. Like, I don't know how they're gonna sell this kind of movie in general. Like who's gonna be like? There's no hero in this. Like, they're all villains. I mean, I could see it. I could see the appeal of that, but I just don't know if anyone would care enough for rooting for villains or in some way, shape, or form. Unless there's somebody there that is maybe somewhere, someone that's you can relate to in some way, or I don't know. I honestly don't know. Is Tom Hardy in
sorry.
this?
I don't know. I think not. Or wait, I think
This guy looks like Tom Hardy in this picture I'm looking at.
his head isn't shaven with a gas mask. Yes, Will Smith. Good to
Oh.
see you.
Oh, big
Welcome to Earth.
welcome to Berlin.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Apparently Deadshot, who Will Smith is playing, he's got a daughter, and apparently they released some set photos of him and his on-screen daughter sharing a scene together. So that's probably the family angle with him.
He may be the one that they're gearing towards to have the most the audience have the most maybe compassion for.
Mm-hmm.
He may be a troubled guy that is doing things off the book or killing people for his family or for his daughter. I could see that playing a role into this. He may be, Will Smith's the biggest name in this movie, so I don't see any reason why he would be a side character to everyone else in here that are primarily not as big or very unknowns as Will Smith. So that may be the angle they're going with. Adam Beach, I see here, is in this movie on the far left. If you're looking at the Suicide Squad, from the Joe Dirt fame or Law and Order SVU fame, he was the Indian selling snakes and sparklers.
Oh wow!
And Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. It's like, well, I was in Suicide Squad, and I was in Joe Dirt. So take with that what you will. Please hire me. And then they got Harley Quinn, who I have no idea who she's played by.
Yeah.
And then the Tao Okamoto, I think, is the Japanese assassin. She was in the Wolverine, so
she looks badass.
Yeah. I do like the fact that they're going for a little bit more of an exaggerated costume style, where a lot of these don't look practical, but they look fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for. Batman and Superman the most, because they're actually pulling the costume from the comics, and it's not like grounded in reality as much as I wasn't really a huge fan of the all black costume, really.
Oh,
I know
Nolan's Batman.
Yeah, I know what their intention was, but I personally was always looking forward to a more less grounded in reality Batman movie that had these out of these world characters like the just ones that were not grounded in reality, like Killer Croc or
There's no way you're doing Killer Croc right,
or Clayface. No, nobody wants to see Killer Croc, but I'm just putting an example out there.
No Mr. Freeze either,
or Mr. Freeze. I would like to see a Mr. Freeze done.
No, Nolan style would just be like a guy who throws ice cubes at people. It's like, Mr. Freeze, yeah.
I would like to see if he wasn't tied to other movies. I think he would be a perfect Mr. Freeze. Patrick Stewart would be a perfect Mr. Freeze.
Oh my gosh, yes. That is if he wasn't perfect for Professor Xavier, he would have been perfect for Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, that would have been great. Well, we'll see how this goes. I mean, I'm all for at least DC's doing something. At least they got something. At least they got things scheduled. At least we're getting. Are we getting a Flash movie, or no?
I think we're getting the Flash movie.
We're getting Aquaman, and then
the
Wonder
Justice
Woman,
League movie,
and Justice League. At least we're getting something.
I still am furious at the fact that you're going to have a Shazam film before a Wonder Woman film, and that just makes that just infuriates me. It's like she's supposed to be one of the big three at DC, and she's still kind of being treated as second fiddle.
Yeah, they honestly, Wonder Woman is a very hard character to do.
Yes, it is,
and it can be done poorly or great. It just they haven't done it. They really haven't done it in any way. They haven't attempted it in any way to really know, because it is a risk to have a lead female protagonist. But it being Wonder Woman, it's definitely gonna be appealing. and it's gonna be very good for as a role model for younger girls to get in if we're looking to get into the comic books or comic book movies, and it's gonna definitely attract that audience for sure. They just haven't done it. We don't know if it just hasn't been done.
I'd love to see more diversity out there. There's just I'm looking forward to a Wonder Woman film, Miss Marvel film, Black Panther. Just get more diversity out there. More the merrier. I would love to see a Static Shock film.
Or as I mentioned to you before, have a Condiment King Amazon movie.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. DC needs to shelve everything right now. Just make a $300 million Condiment King film. No other heroes, no other supervillains, just him, on a busy hot day, serving hot dogs.
Have all the big in marketing advertisements in the movie. Have Heinz ketchup,
Oscar Mayer
wieners, and some hummus.
Condiment King, I would like to purchase one of your Frankfurters.
One of your wiener schnitzels.
Oh my gosh, yes. That needs, or at the very least, make it you know how Pixar has those short movies before their theatrical films. They can do that with this. Just have one of a day in the life of the Condiment King, played by Kevin Conroy.
That'd be a nice little short mini series.
And, hey, I mean, they got Warner Brothers Animation, so why not just ask them to make an animated short film about the Condiment King?
There's the Suicide Squad for you. Just looking at this image, it's certainly different for sure.
Yes.
It's different and new than we've seen from the DC movie universe. So I'm all for that. I'll give it a chance to see.
Yeah.
The only thing that stands out to me here is Harley Quinn.
Yes.
She stands out the most.
But then again, she's always supposed to be the kind of manic, crazy, I don't even know, cheerleader, who also is psychotic.
Yeah. We'll see how the actress that plays her does. I think a picture's worth 1,000 words, and honestly, out of everybody here, she stands out the most.
Everyone looks like they're ready for war, and she just looks like she walked off a set of a country music video.
She just walked out of a set of just some other
Keith Urban music video.
Another Bring It On movie.
Bring It On with Suicide Squad.
Picture perfect.
If it was a dance movie, if Suicide Squad was a dance movie, this would be the best thing ever. Yep. So looking forward to that. Hope it's good.
Well, there's that. Ooh. So, ooh.
Hey, I'm sorry. Could we just take a quick break? I just have to use El Baño, and I shall be returning.
And not a problem. We'll take a quick break, folks, and we'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Such a crazy world. But we are back again, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for waiting on us. I would normally have music, but I got to stop the broadcast in order to get everything in order here, just to get the recording down, because it records every time we broadcast, so I want to preserve those and not do too much work in editing, because I don't want to edit out the music and accidentally have it in there and it'll just get taken down. It's like, damn it, damn copyright and all that nonsense. But we were talking about a little bit of we're talking a little bit about Game of Thrones, what's been going on with the show. I actually had the opportunity, on a side note, I won't really get into it too much, but I actually did have, after a month or two after it came out, I actually got to play the last recent Game of Thrones episode. Which I really enjoyed. It was really a good one, for sure. It was episode 3. Yeah, I think it was episode 3. Yeah, it's really tough to talk about it, because it's very much like the show. There's a lot of story threads and things that happened that give away a lot that I can't really get into without spoiling it. But I really like that episode. It's getting really good, and it's also taking place during the events of the show or in the book. So recently, just something occurred that happened with Joffrey that takes place in there. So it kind of takes place during that time. That's all I'll say. As vague as it could be.
It is It's certainly they're starting to deviate now a little bit more obviously from the book, since they're trying to compound a lot of story information and kind of take on some new story threads as well. I do like the fact that with Podrick and Brienne's story, that they still included the backstory of the dancing that night, and but they actually have a good story to end on that, rather than just like George R. R. Martin's like, and then this bad thing happened to a good character, and then she never forgot it because people are terrible.
Yeah, people are insane in that world. Yeah, one of the other side things with the Game of Thrones game is that they're actually getting even more into how I feel that there's more. It's a lot like the show. There's a lot of things on the line, and a lot of things that are, very political, and also things that will affect because you control, I think, 3 different characters, and in 2 out of I think almost all of them, they're all under the common goal, or in some way to help out the House Forrester, and you get Mira on one end in King's Landing, and then you have Asher on the other side with Marine about to meet Khaleesi. That's how the episode ends. Mm-hmm. About to meet Khaleesi, and they're all trying to in some way help their family out, because they're kind of struggling right now with the White Hills and the Boltons taking over their house, and also what they make their money on, the ironwood. So a lot of things happen, and you have to watch out for yourself, and when you put yourself in those characters, they have to watch out for themselves and also help out their family as well. So it's like a dichotomy between, who do I help out? Either my duty, or should I help out my family? That's what kind of the things that's going on with Mira, for sure. Mm-hmm. And she's also wrapped up in this other web of trouble where someone was out to kill her. So there's a whole lot of crap going on.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the purple wedding, where she's at like, I am at the wrong place at the wrong time,
and made deals with Tyrion Lannister, who is accused of doing something. Yeah, it's not gonna look good on me. It's like, ooh, it's just so much things going on.
And they also give Marjorie a little bit more on another side of her in the game than just having in the show, where you actually kind of see her being a little bit more manipulative, a little bit more power hungry, right, and just like an understanding of how to work the system to her advantage.
Yeah, one of the previous episodes, you got the kind of like the kind-hearted side of her, where especially where you felt that she cares about her handmaidens, and then this episode was like, oh, maybe not. It's like. Maybe not. So I'm thinking I'm not gonna cross her, but at the same time I have to do something to help out the family here. So it like I said, it's that interesting dichotomy of a lot of things. There's a lot of there's risk of getting killed, a lot of risk of getting sent back to their home, and just a whole lot of things going on, and it's really wrapping up to be a pretty interesting. I don't know. I can't say it's the greatest Telltale game out there that they put out, but it's very serviceable. It's very above average than what you get with other things, other games. I mean, anything's better than that Jurassic Park game they did. So I'll tell you that.
They whatever they adapt, they always get the themes right in terms of what kind of choices you want to be the most engaging for this universe. For Game of Thrones, they definitely got the focus on families, on the politics, on resources. Like, they got that down very, very well.
Absolutely, and that's what I love the most about the series, and they're capturing that spirit well. So I'm not expecting it to be the most amazing thing ever, but it is good for what it is. It is very serviceable. If you're a fan of the show or the books, it's definitely something good for you to sink your teeth in another form of Game of Thrones media. Rather than waiting for George R. R. Martin to put out another book, you can just enjoy this.
Yeah, I do like the expansion of. Fortunately, they got away from the first episode's sort of crowbarring in characters whereas from the TV show, and they're using the same actors from the TV show to reprise their roles. And with the second and third episodes, it definitely feels like, okay, now they're getting away from that. They're trying to kind of set up their own storylines, and which is, I kind of like that a little bit more. Where it's like, as much as I love Tyrion or Jon, it's good to have another story that's not directly connected to what they do.
Yeah, I felt that first episode was very gimmicky at that they were doing with introducing a lot of the characters from the show. It's very much taking it's pretty much taking place in the. It's hard to it's a little bit weird to say because the book is its own thing and the show is taking inspiration from the book, but at the same time they're also deviating from that. And the game is taking inspiration from the show, which is taking inspiration from the books and deviating from that. It's just this whole
it's a web of conspiracies,
incoherent, weird web of things going on. But it's mainly going.
You'll just end up like in A Beautiful Mind, where you just got like red string going from one picture to another.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. It's pretty much going off of the show. So a lot of the characters are their likeliness are from the actors of the show. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to get at.
I think Peter Dinklage just wanted to sign on to get people to forget about his terrible performance in Destiny.
Is he really doing? Are the actors from the show really doing their voices? Because some of them really. Because I thought they were like. Impersonators, like, whoa, that's really good. I didn't think they would. I didn't think they had a budget for that to get them on
there. They did because they were doing it in partnering with HBO specifically.
Right, that makes sense because they are listed as in the credits. So
I think
maybe a part of their contract, I guess, to do it.
With the huge push that Walking Dead got after the first season of the Telltale games went out, I think everyone's like, oh wow, these guys can pretty much do anything, so let's partner up with them. And so they got Kit Harington, they got Natalie Dormer, they got I want to say Tyrion Lannister, but that's not it, Peter Dinklage, to reprise their characters since they have the rights to them. And hey, I mean, that's pretty much an easy paycheck for all of them. And but yeah, it's at least nice to have all that credibility lent to the characters.
Well, that's really good. I mean, that puts that definitely adds a lot more value to the game rather than just getting these like lame impersonators, which I thought it was because I guess I didn't notice, but maybe I was still thinking about the performance that Peter Dinklage had in Destiny.
Peter Dinklage gave a really bad Peter Dinklage impersonation.
Right. He like I said, he was in bed and he got a tape recorder and he was just reading his lines and just went back to bed.
He's like, he had a sore throat. He was hungover. He was like, oh, I need to finish this before filming my next scene of Game of Thrones. Okay, let me just do this in the closet. All right, there's a wizard on the moon. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, but that is turning out to be a really good series. Apparently, Telltale's working on something with Marvel, and that makes me really excited. Because I'm a huge Marvel fanatic, but I hope it's Moon Knight because
yes,
it's like we've had enough superheroes who are not brain damaged. So let's give the brain damaged superhero his own story to tell.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Like just just like the character alone, and it's just how the art style is in the comics, the recent comics for.
Oh yeah, with Warren Ellison.
Yeah, for that would be great. That would be great.
From the Dead story arc was just because it's this weird. It's kind of this weird combination of like vigilante superhero meets cosmic horror, because you have like he's talking to this undead Egyptian god who's wearing this clean pressed suit and his head's just like a giant bird skull. And like he's covered in cobwebs, and he's like always talking to like this empty mansion of people he thinks he sees. It's like, oh, this is wonderful. Just because I love it when comics get really weird.
Yeah, I love that whole trade paperback first volume from Warren Ellis. That was really a good read. That's the first time I really sat down and read something like from. I mean, granted, it's not the first trade is not that much. It's like a few issues, but it's the first time I kind of sat down and just read all of them continuously because it was really enjoyable. I like reading everything that was on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice break from all the other type of superheroes where it's like, oh, I like this character. With Moon Knight, you're like, I'm not really sure I like this character, but he's interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is a different approach and different character to try, for sure. Rather than just going with your typical, like, other like Marvel characters, I would rather see them go out of the box doing either Moon Knight or maybe a Punisher would be interesting.
That would be really good. Or maybe Squirrel Girl. She deserves her own darn spin-off already.
At last. Things like that. Just doing something out of the box. I think with the tones and just the writing that they've had with their previous games, I could see them do a Moon Knight or a Punisher. That would be something
with some moral ambiguity.
More ambiguity or more and kind of grittiness and and sleazy, like just the sleazy streets of of up there in Wolf Among Us with the pudding pie.
that would be awesome to see. And I gotta say, I almost kind of hope that they also consider maybe doing one of their more, because they did the Back to the Future. They did Back to the Future, a really, really good adaptation of Back to the Future games, which is almost like the fourth film that was never made, because really, really good, really funny, great. They got Christopher Lloyd back. They got the guy who sounds exactly like Marty McFly, but since I can't remember what his name is. The actor who played. Jesus, do I have dementia?
Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox. Yeah, they got a guy who sounds exactly like him. So it's this great game, and it's not the morality choice where it's not like, oh, do you save his father or do you save his mother? No, it's just like, okay, dialogue options, fun stuff. Maybe that for like a little bit more of a lighthearted game.
It was just a linear story that expanded upon the Back to the Future universe. That's all, pretty much all it was.
Went back to Prohibition age, went to the far future, all good stuff.
Yeah, very, very good stuff. I thought I've brought it up before. I actually would I would like to see Telltale tackle like 24 in its prime. If 24 was like. If 24 was like it's just started out now, or like it was like in its second or third season in its prime, I would like to see them do a game based off that show. That would have been awesome.
Just specifically for that game, there'd be a damn it button where it's like you can make Jack just say damn it every single time. Like, damn it, damn it, damn it.
That would be awesome. The damn it button.
And they do have it is that moral ambiguity sort of area where you have Jack maybe doing things that are questionable, like torturing or murder for his country, and not always exactly sanctioned. So, that would be perfect. That would be right up their alley.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, a lot of good stuff out there. Yeah. A lot of potential in the horizon for Telltale. Very good stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking. I really like Telltale games, and I can't wait for their next episodes of Game of Thrones, and also Tales from the Borderlands. That's another one. I can't believe I forgot about that one. That's a really, really good series. I'm not entirely sure they nail the comedic drama balance, because it's because they're good at drama, but I'm just not sure about because Borderlands is kind of like a straight up comedy, so they try to inject some pathos in it as well. I don't know how it's going to work out since the first season hasn't ended yet, but it's good. I just have some concerns that I hope they address in the future. Right,
fair enough. I mean, there's always going to be small things that could always be improved upon. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up or discuss? I feel like we covered, I think, a good chunk of things that I personally wanted to talk about, especially with with Avengers and and Batman and Superman trailer for sure, and with what's going on now officially with Kojima and Konami, those are the really main things that I wanted to discuss for the most. And then we had a little bit of the side stuff with Batman Arkham Knight DLC, and the whole Mario Kombat, all that's that microtransaction stuff. We covered a good amount. So, did you want to get to questions, or did you have anything else?
I'm all good. Let's get into questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna be pulling up from Instagram. I called the Blade Thumbs signal for some questions.
Very nice.
I'm gonna actually pull up Twitter real quick because we do have a question from there, and then I'll just go through the Instagram.
You got it.
Actually, a question here from Tag Gibby. His question is, why do hummingbirds hum? Do they just know the words? There we go.
Hummingbirds hum because they're trying to remember the lyrics to that one song they listened to a year and a half ago on the bus ride back home, but they weren't sure what if they're thinking of another song or they've got two songs they think it might be. So what they're doing is humming it to see what the lyrics might be, and if the lyrics match up with what the beat and melody of the song is.
Very good answer.
You won't find that on Neil deGrasse Tyson's Cosmos. You'll only find it here on Bloody Thumbs Podcast.
That's gonna be a good quote to add on.
I dropped the truth bomb. Drop the truth.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, so we are National Geographic and G4 rolled into one.
Okay, so let's go to the Instagram real quick. And sorry if I miss anything here, because I kind of spread these out for a long time, because I put one up like 2-3 weeks ago on Instagram, and then reposted it again recently, so we have like 2 different posts I'm looking at here. So if I miss one, I apologize. This is from the Better Gaming Bureau, our pals over there. Their question is, if you had to pick one superhero or video game character to be your parent, who would you pick?
Let's see. Well, since superheroes, I don't know if they're the best role models, since most of them are orphans, and I'm not sure if that tradition would continue. Lee Everett from The Walking Dead, he's pretty darn good at being caring and informative and bright, and also just very, very he's a guy who knows his morality, and he makes no mistakes about it, but he owns up to what he does, and he's a good man.
Very good. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think most folks may know the answer already, but rather than give the easy answer, the easy answer for me would be Batman, because he could train me, be his protege and take over whenever the time comes. Be his next. Maybe I don't want to be the next Jason Todd, but maybe the next Dick Grayson.
Well, you'd have to be beaten to death with a crowbar first, and then you'd have the badass leather bike jacket and cool helmet.
Oh yeah, the rebellious young Robin taking the Batmobile for a spin, Batman Forever style.
That family gets progressively larger and progressively more violent with each new edition, because it's like Jason Todd. Okay, it's like Dick Grayson. He's kind of like Batman. He's got the right sensibilities about him, and then it's like Jason Todd. He's violent. He's got a different philosophy than Batman, but at least he still has a philosophy that he believes in, and he seems pretty rational. And then you have Damian Wayne, who's just like this little. He's like if Scrappy Doo was a murdering psychopath.
Yeah, that would be my answer there. The Dark Knight himself. You practically raised me when I was young, watching the animated series. He taught me right and wrong, blue and white, all that good stuff.
that taught you not to be afraid, to master your fears, to not be afraid,
To mind my surroundings.
and to crush a little blue flower so that you can conquer your fears.
Yes. Oh shit! Let me look up the other questions.
Mm-hmm.
My phone went in standby. Let's see. There's a question from Toki Panda. She asks,
hello.
"Who's your man crush, CH?"
All right, I got a list of 25. I'm gonna narrow it down to at least one.
Top 5 man crushes for CH Gorog.
Top 5 guys I'd go gay for.
You know, I gotta say, Chris Evans.
Oh, yeah?
He just seems like man's in great shape, but I also gotta say seems like a very kind-hearted guy. He seems very personable, great smile, good man.
Oh, the smile that melts hearts.
Mm-hmm. And he also does a lot of charity work, which it's like, yeah, that's a sign of somebody who loves the community and with a sense of altruism.
And in an aspiring director, I think he wants to kind of stop kind of acting in movies and direct, from what I've heard.
Yeah, he wants to, after his stint in the Marvel Universe, he wants to go on and do directing. And because he, is kind of tired of acting, so he wants to do something new.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while, and he'll if he does it, he'll be one of the hunkiest directors out there.
What a hunk!
What a hunk!
I mean, you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt and all these actors. They think, that they've been they've been in front of the camera for so long that they think they can be behind it. It's always interesting to see who makes it and who doesn't. Like, who's actually a really good director, like Clint Eastwood, and then who kind of just sort of sputters and doesn't really do that well. And that's how I felt about Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Don John.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only one he's kind of ever done, I think, right? Or maybe some other, like, little side indie stuff. But it's, I mean, I'm all for them branching out and doing something different. I'm sure that they get to that point where, they've kind of peaked on what they could do and the work they've done, acting wise, and they just kind of want to try something different. It happens, it happens to everyone. They're not, it's not the thing like when you're an actor, you're always an actor. I mean, they always people change and they always have different aspirations or interests. So that's the thing that happens.
Yeah, and it's very hard for not only for them to go into acting, but to also, like Ben Affleck, be the actor and director. Where I can maybe count on one hand how many actor directors are actually really, really good, like Stephen Chow or Orson Welles, and although I absolutely hate the bastard personally, Woody Harrelson. I'm sorry, Woody Allen. No, I love Woody Harrelson. What the hell am I saying? Woody Allen is terrible.
I was gonna say, where did this hate for Woody Harrelson come from?
He was too good in Zombieland. I'm like, listen, you son of a bitch, you can't make me like your character this much and not have a sequel.
Zombieland was a little overrated for me.
Why you gotta bring up new shit, man? Why do you want to cause a fight in front of? Do you want us to fight in front of the kids?
But Emma Stone, though.
Emma Stone Cold Fox. Oh, just gorgeous from every single angle, perfection. But also Jesse Eisenberg. I think that one and The Social Network were the two roles that he was like, listen, I'm better than Michael Cera. Now Michael Cera is the second-rate Jesse Eisenberg.
Right. I mean, people were definitely comparing those two for a while, and then he's kind of branched out on his own. He's actually the real deal in terms of acting. Michael
Cera ain't Lex Luthor.
That's true. He's got that over him. Yeah, I could, on a side note, I can see Lex Luthor. I can see Lex Luthor manipulating the media for sure. Maybe Batman's opinion.
He's using Facebook to smear his name.
Exactly. You see a bunch of like cool images and very positive things that Superman has done to help out, and then you see like 200, like a million dislikes, and all of them are like bots from Lex Luthor. A bunch of just dislikes or thumbs down.
Like I bet he's I bet Superman's actually wearing a wig under there.
Mm-hmm. So on to the next question here is from Mr. Conviction through Instagram. Mm-hmm. This is a weird one. I had to think about this for a while.
Okay.
You may have to think about it too. If I gave you 3 apples and took away 4 oranges, how many fatalities will Spawn perform?
Okay, could you repeat that?
If I gave you 3 apples and took away 4 oranges, how many fatalities will Spawn perform? Yeah, this is a tough one here.
I need to contact the boys at MIT. I don't think I can get to this one.
I think we need to phone a friend.
Oh, good. Jeez, I'm okay. Hold on. Okay, so apples. You can't compare apples to oranges. So is that a joke about how?
Unfortunately, it's not in the chat anymore, so we can't get a formal confirmation on whether your theory is right on this one. I'm gonna say none because Spawn hasn't been relevant for a while.
Spawn. Okay, maybe it's like a joke about the clown guy who's got like clowns. Is the villain in Spawn? He's just a big fat clown guy. Was that like? Okay, so maybe clowns use fruit and then performing fatality. I'm just gonna assume it's Michael J. White could do however many damn fatalities as he wants because he's Black Dynamite and Spawn. So just whatever.
Let's go with that.
Mm-hmm. I'll assume 3 fatalities because you have 3 apples and 4 oranges, and you take away 4 oranges, you still have 3 apples, and 3 apples can press the right trigger and buy easy fatalities and only press one button to kill people.
Yeah, this reminds me of one of these math word questions that I always hated because I always had to think too much about it. Like the train's going this amount of miles per hour. How long would it take to get here in 3 hours? Like, I don't know, man.
It just cuts to the inside of my head, and it's just like chocolate rain. Some stay dry, and others feel the pain. Chocolate rain.
That reminds me of this other question. I think it may have been similar. If you had 3 apples and 4 oranges in one hand and 4 apples in the other hand, what would you have? I would say you have very large hands, but I don't
know. No more room to carry things.
But thank you for that very thought-provoking question, Mr. Conviction. I love it. Keep them coming. These conundrums I cannot fathom.
We enjoy them very, very much. They are beyond. I think he's been playing Bloodborne too much because he has gone insane, and just enjoying delving into the horror that he has seen.
Maybe he has a lot of insight and he's just seeing things from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to what the answer actually was.
Yeah, let us know, Mr. Conviction. Tweet me at Splinter47. Let me know what the heck that answer was, or maybe you're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticked. Just throwing us off.
That's the alternate title for this podcast.
Oh, okay. That's the subtitle.
Or at least for now.
And the next question from Big Red and Y. This question is: after hearing about the details that have been revealed, how do you feel about Star Wars Battlefront now? I'm not sure what the details are. I haven't kept up on that one.
It's they're doing. I think they're going to be doing some DLC stuff, early access. I'm excited. It's Battlefront. I thought the first 2 were great. I'm a little bit sad that there's not going to be space battles, because that was a big reason why I loved Battlefront 2. But there's not enough in there to warrant me to go, oh, it looks really great, or oh, it looks really bad, because it's in-game engine stuff with posed characters who, you know, it's in game, but it's still very posed. It's not like a cutscene. It's like a very advanced Gary's mod explanation.
And it's EA. I still don't trust EA.
Yeah, EA is just the worst. But now that they got Disney to answer to, maybe you know, Disney's like, the mouse will come on and I was like, ho ho, don't get this wrong, or your ass is mine, ho ho, Bobby Kotick. So yeah, I would say looking forward to it. Not overly enthusiastic. Like, I'm not feeling the same thing I feel about Halo 5 or The Witcher 3 or any of the big games coming out, where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm really into this. It just say like, oh, that might be an interesting game I might buy.
Right. I just don't have a whole lot of knowledge on it really, because I haven't really kept up on it, so I can't really give a wholehearted opinion on it. I'll definitely do some more research on kind of what the game's about. I really haven't played any Star Wars games other than like The Force Unleashed, really, so I'm not really too familiar with like the previous Battlefront games in the series.
Yeah, I mean, and I also finally got to play The Force Unleashed 2. Yeah, not that. I mean, it's not really much to talk about. It's like, okay, it's
other than your cameo.
Other than my cameo, which was my best work so far. I have to say that some of the scenes look pretty, but the gameplay was pretty repetitive. I did like at the end they teased just like, okay, they captured Vader and whatever they were going to go for the third Force Unleashed. Apparently, it's not going to happen. But yeah, Vader was like, listen, as long as she's alive, I can threaten her, and I own you. So you're going to either have to kill her or you're going to kill me.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, it had so much potential. I just I don't know what happened with the second one. The first one really ended on a strong note for sure. And it had such a better story than the second one did. It was actually, you know, very very fully fleshed out, and it just added a lot more to the Star Wars mythos for sure. And it definitely had because it was in video game form. It had just so much potential to transcend.
First one was a delightful surprise, if
it
some
was, yeah.
problems with the QuickTime events, because there was a lot of those.
Yeah, other than that, what got me going was just seeing what happened in the story and just what they did with adding on to the story of that series. So it was interesting at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was that weird area of the video game industry when Star Wars was doing the prequels, and it was the video games actually doing the better stuff, where you have like Republic Commando, Knights of the Old Republic, and The Force Unleashed doing stories that were like, oh, this is actually really, really interesting. This is like what I actually wanted to see of the universe. And then the other one's like, well, the movies are just like, it's the prequels, no one is that big of a...
Right. Yeah, so I was gonna move on to some other questions here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we already talked about the Joker look and Avengers 2, so we'll kind of skim over that. That kind of got answered. As I mentioned earlier, some of the questions that were asked, we kind of already discussed prior to this segment here. So thank you again for asking us, at least for our thoughts on that.
Thank you all.
Also our thoughts on Silent Hills and PT. So kind of gone over that one. I don't know if you want to answer this or not, but this from the question from Deep Boy, so he's just asking who we had on the fight that happened yesterday for Mayweather and Pacquiao.
Oh, okay.
I really didn't care, didn't follow it, so I can't really get much of an opinion on it. Don't follow really boxing or anything like that. It was a pain in the ass for me because it was in Vegas, and Vegas traffic was a pain in the ass for me. So
yeah, just like damn, every time there's a boxing fight, damn.
And then we have like the Rock and Rio going on here too, and like in a week or two they have like the Rock weekend and Pop weekend, so it's gonna be crazy.
Rock and Pop.
Gonna be crazy. Music festival going on over the weekends.
Now all you're waiting for is Lock to come on in, then you're all good. Good.
And
You,
rock
then you got the
bottoms.
trifecta.
Yeah.
Rock lobster.
So I take it you weren't really following this either, or maybe moderately.
I was rooting for Pacquiao just because of one story, which was I hear Mayweather's kind of an ass in real life, but the thing that really cinched it was he accused Pacquiao of only doing this for the money. And so Pacquiao responded by saying, like, okay, why don't we send all of the winnings to charities? And then Mayweather's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, you know what? Screw you. Pacquiao, even if you lose, you're a winner in my book because you did not win the game of being an asshole.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how I feels.
Yeah, fair enough. That's very legitimate. I
didn't watch the fight.
No.
No.
I was busy reading. I was finishing up reading my Doom Patrol omnibus, which is like I've been in the process of reading. It's just such a big, like, thick omnibus. Like, I've been reading it for like months, and I just finished it today, and I really enjoyed it. It's a very weird series and run by Grant Morrison.
Got a brain, like a talking brain, and like a R2-D2 body, right?
Yeah, there was a moment where they had that. There was like a brain in a tank talking. There's a lot of weird shit in Grant Morrison's run on Doom Patrol, but it was a very, very cool. I liked it a lot. There's so much like different themes and different subjects they covered in that. It's just so much to even discuss right now. But I like the way they ended it. There was a cool little cute, very sweet moment at the end with Cliff and Crazy Jane, which they kind of hinted at throughout the series that they. I don't know if they hinted at maybe them being in a relationship, but they kind of like
got feelings.
They had feelings, and they also kind of helped each other through their own traumatic experience, because Cliff was kind of a race car driver that got in a car accident and just pretty much was burnt alive, and all that was really left was his brain. So they put his brain in a robot body, and he talked about having like the phantom pain like all over his body, like he can't feel anything, or it just talked about even something simple as like taking a dump. Like he misses that, you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's horrifying.
And Crazy Jane is just a whole nother tragic crazy backstory with her. She has like multiple personalities that were created due to her like abuse as a child by like her father, and just a whole traumatic experiences that created all these different multiple personalities that come and go like so randomly throughout the series, and they all kind of manifest and have their own kind of powers with those personalities. And at the end she kind of comes to terms with like her past. It was a really cool moment in there that, you know, metaphorically, like you get a lot of like inklings on like how her mind works. It's like a subway system. They kind of really go into detail like how her mind works, but pretty much how it wraps up is that they end up helping each other, because in many ways, like it's just like there's just two scenes that harken back to like the first issue and at the end of the issue where they were in the rain. And at first when Cliff was brought into the Doom Patrol, he first saw Crazy Jane outside in the rain, just like staring at the painting that is just covered in rain and just wet, but she like just standing there looking at it, just in awe of it because she thinks it's beautiful. And he was really hesitant and just kind of weirded out by her, and his whole character just, you know, progresses and changes throughout the series because he learns to adapt to, you know, having feelings for other people, and just because he was a very arrogant guy. He was a kind of a dick before he got in that crash. So his character very changed and progressed throughout the whole series, and he just kind of all harkened back around to the end.
Jesus saved his brain for a reason.
And all tied up very nicely. I liked that run a lot. It was very good.
Good.
So much to read in there.
Well, then I'll put that on the list because you were very, very right about Batman Death in Death of the Family. So I'll put that on the next as the omnibus.
Yeah, the omnibus is very, very, very good. Worth checking out. If you don't have space for that, I would probably suggest getting maybe like the trade paperbacks.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably the best way to go, because the omnibuses, they appear like they have a lot of pages, but they actually just make the paper quality is better. They're more thicker.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like pulls out the best image quality you can get. So that's why it's more thicker than it's kind of should be, just because of the thickness of the paper. Actually, going back on Death of the Family, recently the Batman number 40 came out, and that kind of ended the what's called the Batman Endgame story arc, which is pretty much just a continuation or kind of a predecessor to Death of the Family. So I would probably check that out. I haven't read it yet because it's been sold out in my comic stores. I have not yet read the final issue of that whole story arc. It's done by Scott Snyder, the same writer for Death of the Family. It's pretty much a sequel to Death of the Family.
Did Kevin Conroy tell you, like, listen, you need to buy this trade paperback? Don't you want to find out what happens to me?
That was funny though. No, it's very good. That's the first comic that I've picked up in issues. I know there's going to be a trade coming out later this year in October. So I'm going to end up buying it anyway. But I like knowing the story before it came out in trade rather than wait.
And got spoiled.
Yeah,
on the internet before that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been spoiled yet. Fortunately, I haven't been spoiled yet. I may have to end up just buying it digitally because everywhere I go, that issue sold out. It's a big final issue. It's been really hot. It's been sold out everywhere. They have it's funny because they actually have usually the comic issues, they usually have like variant covers, like just different alternative covers. They actually have one of the Joker. It's pretty much a similar cover of The Mask, but with the Joker on it.
Oh wow!
That's like out of the blue. It's like, I don't know why they did that, but I like
the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's the Joker in the same pose as The Mask with his hat and suit, purple suit.
Somebody stop him, please.
Maybe that was the intention.
Jim Carrey would have made a very interesting Joker choice if they ever decided to go with him.
And maybe having him do Riddler again would have been cool.
Out of that entire movie, Jim Carrey as the Riddler, awesome.
Yeah, he was say what you will about like those movies back then. I mean, I think he did what he could with that role. He stood out the most, especially everybody else. Like compared to like the hammed up Tommy Lee Jones as
Tommy Lee Jones is awful in that movie. It's like, I don't know what in the world, like what movie you think you're auditioning for, but that studio is like 5 blocks down the way. This is this movie.
Yeah, so I linked you to the cover of this Batman number 40. This is the alternate cover of Batman. This is pretty much the same. This is pretty much the exact copy of The Mask.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh.
I really don't know why they did this, but I'm happy for it. In a world where we get the Joker and The Mask, it's a perfect world for me.
A special team up.
Oh yeah.
DC did do that thing recently where they had several variants of famous movie posters and famous movie art. I'm trying to remember some of the more recent ones, but I'll look that up because they'd like to do kind of the very interesting artistic flourishes now and then.
Right. But that's that. That was just a little
nice.
Yeah, that was just a little side note.
Yeah, very, very nice. Good tip of the hat to what has come before.
Yeah, that's that's my favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time. I grew up watching that movie too.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And just like that, Jim Carrey is just like, back in that day, he was rubber, and just like a man who you were absolutely certain had absolutely no spine to do all that physical comedy and all those gags.
Yeah, that was him in his prime in that movie.
I'm looking up the DC movie poster variants. They got it for Green Lantern, for with 2001: A Space Odyssey, for Justice League. They got what is it, Magic Mike. For Aquaman, they have Free Willy. And
cool.
For Superman Action Comics, they have Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is that's fantastic.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
Yep. Yeah, that's really cool of them to do that, and all those variant covers. Very, very nice. Marvel's got to step up their game on that.
Yeah, it just adds more like more value to
fun.
collecting those. Like, I would collect those. I'll just frame them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice. They're just like nice covers.
Absolutely, especially with they got Enter the Dragon for Nightwing, and Justice League Dark with Beetlejuice. That's really, really good. Love that.
Grayson, Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm. Catwoman's got the Bullet movie poster. Pretty darn good.
Justice League. It looks like Mars Attacks poster.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. They really went out of their way and chose some pretty iconic movie posters.
Magic Mike one is cracking me up.
It's like, we can't really think of anything else to put here, so we're just like barely putting in any context for this.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Wonder Woman 300.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. So, yeah, before we go, folks, we're just going to wrap up the podcast here with one more question. I know it's getting late for you, Mr. CH there.
So, all good.
And this quick, with this, another question from the Better Game Bureau. With the slew of superhero films coming out in the next few years, what movie are you looking forward to the most? So we have a bunch of, some already announced, like, Marvel upcoming properties. We talked about Black Panther. Mm-hmm. Doctor Strange is in talks. We have Wonder Woman, Deadpool, all those other properties that have yet to be released but are currently in the works. What is the one that stands out to you the most that you're more curious or interested in checking out there?
I have a feeling that Civil War is going to be awesome. The Spider-Man reboot, I'm looking forward to a lot of them. The one that I'm interested in the most is just, I don't know how they're going to do it, is Deadpool. Because I'm honestly, that's the biggest question mark. Is like, how are they going to pull off Guardians of the Galaxy? That's how I feel about Deadpool right now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely the most curious about that. How that would pan out. Yeah, I would say out of all of them, I would be more interested in seeing what is to come out of. I mean, out of the ones that have been announced that we have no footage or anything for, but they're in the works. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing I would be interested in seeing what Guardians of the Galaxy sequel. 'Cause I really liked the first one. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyed it. It was just a fresh breath of fresh air. In terms of this fun really good sci-fi odyssey movie.
Mm-hmm. That one was great. But all the ones that I'm excited for a lot of them, but I feel like all of them are, I'm pretty sure they're going to be good just because they got the right talent behind them. Maybe Ant-Man, just because I don't know if Marvel's going to be able to pull off that one. That's the biggest question mark I got, because it feels like they haven't gone as, no pun intended, they haven't gone big enough for this movie. You need to have a very interesting hook, or, an immediately great, first trailer to get you pumped like they did for Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't feel that way with Ant-Man, so that might be the first flub Marvel has creatively. Well, they had a couple, but this one seems like the more overt one. If it doesn't go well.
Yeah, that's the big question mark for everyone, especially just how they ended up switching directors at the very last minute.
Yeah, and Edgar Wright, man, they lost Edgar Wright. That makes me just so sad.
Yeah, such a great director, and really could have added a lot. They could have added a lot to the movie and just been a very great asset to Marvel. You know, they have just a great slew of directors tied to their movies right now.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that didn't end up working out. I guess they got something going on there with creative differences. I'm sure they got their own strict things going on there that I'm sure Joss Whedon can attest to.
Yeah,
from what he's been talking about, how it's been pretty crazy getting all that together, that whole Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm. And he had said that the Ant-Man screenplay that Edgar Wright had written was one of the best things he had ever read of any of the Marvel films. So I don't know. I guess it was maybe a creative difference. Like they didn't like Edgar wanted to go too far in his own universe and make his own kind of story and not really adhere to the whole grand story, or who knows. Whatever the case was, it's too bad we're never going to see that Ant-Man movie by Edgar Wright.
Yeah. Well, there's always something else he could do. I'm sure he's always in high demand to make another movie, or anything he will make is always interesting and different. So
yeah,
he's got that going for him.
The World's End. I'm rewatching Hot Fuzz the other day, and I think to myself, my God, this guy's brilliant. I just all the little jokes that are peppered in, and all the cinematography is brilliant. I love it. And I just wish that more comedies were like that, like his films these days.
Absolutely. So, thank you very much, everybody, for the questions.
Yes, thank you.
We covered a lot of aspects today. A lot of movie talks, some games here.
Yep, Konami,
much stuff.
Ukulele,
yeah.
Just Mortal Kombat and WB kind of messing with that a little too much, especially with the $40 of downloadable pre-orders and just anyway. I'm not going to think about that now, but yeah, we covered a lot of good topics today.
Yeah, the way I see it, depending on what it is optional, I hope.
Mm-hmm. I really, really hope. But I feel like the Catwoman stuff in Arkham City wasn't really that optional. I hope that's not the case with this one.
Yeah, same here. So, yeah, other than that, thank you again for everybody for tuning in tonight live, and also for those who took the time out to listen to us on the archives. That's what always appreciate that as well. Not everyone can make it to the live show, I understand. So that's always the reason why we have the archives. So you can always download and listen to your pleasure whenever you got time. Thank you very much again for the questions. Follow us on Twitter. I am at Swinner47 and CH is at CH_Gorog. I'm also on Instagram under Swinner47. That's where I'm mainly posting our Bullet Thumbs related stuff. Eventually, once we get everything in motion on kind of what we want to do, I think we're gonna have maybe our own Bullet Thumbs Instagram, and maybe do like daily like gaming facts or gaming history like this day in history related to games. So I'm looking forward to that idea for sure. Kind of get things going and kind of like reinvigorate some of the little small things that may have been forgotten in gaming history, like when like the first time the SNES came out or things like that.
That would be nice. I think I'd like to inject a little bit more trivia based stuff into the schedule. So yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards to do. So we'll kind of get that going and talk about it on a later time. But yeah, Twitter is where we're at. YouTube, all the links to that it will be on our show notes. So I won't bore you with that. We're on iTunes. Give us a good rating if you got the chance to give us a good rating on iTunes. Try to get up on the video game podcast charts eventually.
Yes,
thanks again to Better Gaming Bureau for being awesome and just being a part of their site. That's where we mainly post our podcast. It's pretty much our new home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. Thank you, CH, for taking the time out to record with me today.
It's all my pleasure. Please don't. Thank you for hosting this wonderful event, my friend, and thank you to all who have tuned in to listen to us and to give us feedback and to give us questions. We thrive off of you. You guys make this happen. Absolutely.
So, for you and everybody else at home, I wish you all a wonderful night. This has been episode 162 of Blade Thumbs Podcast. I am Splinter47 signing off. Enjoy the rest of your week. Gravitas.
I am CH Gorod, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.